Hello and welcome back to Lorehammer, 40K podcast where we like to read the stories and the lore, and we also like to make some jokes every now and again. Joining me today, we got two new guests. Joining me first is Jaeger. Welcome to the show.
Hey there.
You've called in a couple times, but also you've been a long-time listener, and we've enjoyed having some casual conversations between us over the years, eh?
Some 5.5, 6-ish years ago, I started to listen to some wacky Canadians talking about Warhammer because I was into it, but didn't know jack shit. Now I know even less. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Brain rotted you for sure.
No, but I gotta be grateful because I thought if you guys can do a podcast and reach so many people, maybe I can do it too. And then I grabbed a buddy of mine. We started one in our native German language and are one of the top 3 German 40K podcasts now. So an extended thank you.
No, that's sweet, man. I love growing the community. So your podcast is called the Adeptus Inebrius?
Correct. Adeptus Inebris, the 40K lore podcast with attitude. We might be a bit more laissez-faire even than you guys. No script, but a lot of beer. We kind of get our point across. No reason making a lot of plugging this too hard here, since it's a German. But if I reach just one person in the German-speaking world that has not heard of us but listens to Lorehammer, well, there we go.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I've heard like a lot of people have listened to Lorehammer to try to learn English. So maybe somebody will be like, I need to try to learn some German. So maybe they'll jump over to you that way. I know I listened to a little bit of it. And while my German really only comes to table manners, it was still super funny to listen to you guys. You could tell that the energy was there and just laughter and having a good time.
With very serious and dark topics. So I think that's the mixture.
Yeah, that's the best way to enjoy dark topics. It's like we use 40K to explore these kind of topics, because if you use real life examples, it gets fucking bleak quick. But it's a great way to kind of explore the darker aspects of humanity and how maybe to avoid them.
Definitely. But I mean, let's not talk about me too much. It's 3 of us here, isn't it?
Yeah, we also got Jax. Welcome to the show. You've been on a lot of bonus episodes and you call in almost all the time. And I thought, let's give this little punk kid main episode. So welcome, Jax.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Yeah, we're just hyped to talk about Be'lakor. The First Damned is today's topic. But before we get into that, just do some housekeeping as I normally do. We got our Discord. It's bumping. We just broke over 3,000 people on there, which is pretty cool, man. Lots of people posting pictures and stuff. We just kind of finished up, probably by the time this episode's out, the gangs versus Arbites, and that was a lot of fun. So I don't know the winner yet, but go check that out. You can find the winner if you want to read the lore there as well. I'm also thinking about reading the lore on an episode and sharing that. But now there's rumors going around of there's whispers in the warp of a tabletop simulator 40K tournament. So, go check that out. If you message me, if I get enough people kind of interested in this tabletop simulator 40K idea, we'll definitely start it up and hook it up. Otherwise, it might just be me and Jax playing against each other over and over and over.
Good times.
Be careful, my custodies hit hard.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard the Imperial Knight meta is brilliant right now, and you've got an ally in me because I play Imperial Knights myself, so we might give it a whirl.
Yeah, we could just go stomp some orcs, stomp some Xenos in our knights. Yeah, it would be fun.
Hell yeah. You can also, dear listeners, join the Imperial Tithe and support the show, as I have done for years and years and years. And I never once had the urge to demand my money back.
Never once, eh?
Ad-free version. The ad-free version of the podcast you can have at a minimum of $250 per month. Definitely worth it. And the video version of the podcast with a tithe from $5 upwards. Yeah. And I mean, the Discord, the community is not locked to the Patreon, is it?
No, but you do get a fancy green tag so you can flaunt on all of the other people that you're better than them.
Well, looky, there we got it. All right. So that's
Yeah.
another thing you gotta keep in mind. Join the Patreon. Please support these wonderful people with their great project that is being rebirthed like the phoenix from the ashes.
Yes.
This also gives you a live chat room during the show. And who knows, you may be able to be a call-in guest at the end of the episode. Shitty joke here or there, like me, and you might be able to show up on one of these.
Yeah, this is kind of the flow of events. It's like, first of all, you got to get your name out into the community, build some rapport, join the call-ins, and then eventually, yeah, you yourself might be able to make it on an episode, which I've loved meeting. Like, my whole concept with Lorehammer was always, I need to trap a bunch of people in the room with me to talk 40K. So now I've really kind of mastered that art, and I'm going worldwide with it. So it's been a lot of fun having all these different people on.
Come to think of it, this is not the first time you uttered this exact sentence, so I believe you when you say it.
Yeah, man.
You're serious.
Yeah, man. I feel like at this point now we're probably getting close to 150 different people on this show, and if you got to include the Listener Lore podcast as well to get to that number, but a lot of different people, which is just crazy to think about. Just the community that we've all kind of built, and it would be nothing without you guys. So yeah, cool. Let's jump into the show notes. Today's topic is episode 121, Be'lakor, the First Damned. So he's a demon prince of chaos. So maybe before we dive into who he is exactly, we need to set up some context of what exactly a demon prince is. You know, how do you become one? What are the boons you get? Kind of just the basics of demonhood, just in case you yourself are considering becoming one. Let's teach you how.
You gave a career guide on that topic already. So this is basically the director level, not really CEO. That's the Chaos Gods, but yeah, up there. That's the upper part of the career ladder.
All right, demon princes. A demon prince is a formal mortal chaos champion, ascended to demonhood as a reward for unwavering loyalty to a god of chaos or to Chaos Undivided. These beings sacrifice their humanity in exchange for godlike power and immortality, becoming living embodiments of chaos itself. This transformation, through granting them unimaginable strength and eternal life, strips them of their free will, binding them as instruments of their infernal gods. The path to demonhood. To reach the rank of demon prince is the highest ambition for chaos champions, promising immortality and power that defies mortal comprehension. Such a transformation is reserved only for those who transcend the bloody ranks of chaos, spilling blood on planetary scale to gain favor of the dark gods. Murder and conquest alone, however, is not sufficient. Only those who advance the cause of their patrons receive the sacred ascension. The reward? A body surging with terrible energies of the warp and demigod among mortals. The strength of the warp. Demon princes combine the brute strength of demons with the tactical acumen of veteran space marines. But the path is perilous. Failure in the eyes of the gods can condemn them to a fate worse than death. As a chaos spawn twisted beyond recognition. As eternal extensions of the warp, they cannot be killed in the material universe, only banished for 1,000 years or more. Their servitude to chaos is eternal, and they exist as long as the chaos gods remain a force in the cosmos. Yeah, this is kind of cool. Like, this is one of the true ways to become immortal, and lots of humans, that's their goal. Like, how do I live forever? How do I maintain my legacy forever? How do I have power forever? So this is one of those real ways that you can do it in 40K. You kind of align yourself with a chaos god. You start sacrificing people, or plotting and scheming, or doing lots of drugs if you're into Selanish. You know, you just start doing things that the god would want you to do, and eventually he might take notice of you and give you more power and more power. At first it starts off with a little boon. Maybe you grow a third arm that helps you carry a third weapon, but eventually you might turn into a full-on demon prince.
I was just saying that one like crackhead on the side of the road just shivved another guy, just become a chaos god, or not chaos god, chaos prince.
Yeah, but as Mark mentioned, there are many steps in between. I mean, the first one is basically the guide to becoming a champion of chaos. So this is basically proving yourself to one or several gods. I mean, we'll get to the difference later on in this topic. But at first you got to prove yourself in terms of how far are you willing to go. Are you real or are you a snitch? Are you wearing a wire, or will you burn the orphanage while you bang a cow and slaughter I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, like it's not just the minor stuff. Like a minor act is not going to gain the attention of God. Only the truly horrendous, truly over the top things will get you even the notice of a chaos god. And like you said, the chaos gods can also read your kind of heart and soul. And if you're not fully in it, they can know, and then you might get sent on the path of chaos spawn as opposed to demonhood.
They will turn the shit around on you real quick. And as you mentioned, just in the notes there, then it goes further, because after you've proved yourself as a champion of chaos, or somebody who gets the job done and can be trusted, then if you actually do something useful and finish some projects that push up those numbers for the quarter, well, then we're talking potential demonhood, career path, and that's interesting.
Purge in this chat room says, to become a skinwalker, you have to dark act, normally killing I think he missed a word there. To become a skinwalker, you have to commit a dark act, normally killing a loved one. Sounds familiar to that, for sure. And that's kind of what it is. Yeah, you have to commit something truly heinous, like killing a loved one in cold blood or something like that. And then, as Jaeger said, then there's that next step of, it's not just being dark and evil for the sake of evil. There then has to be some type of furtherance of the chaos god as well. In battle, towering over mortal warriors, demon princes are engines of terror on the battlefield. Their mere presence causes mortals to falter, their laughter chilling to the core. They march through gunfire unscathed, eyes blazing with warp energy, their mouths spewing black flames. With words in the dark tongue that carry lethal power, they are nightmares incarnate, chaos given living form. Tales of infamy. Among demon princes, few are as infamous as Be'lakor, though others of renown include the demon primarchs of the traitor legions. These former primarchs with dark powers layered upon the already godlike frames lead heretic Astartes legions against the Imperium they betrayed, fighting alongside the demonic legions of their sinister patrons. And maybe this is another thought to add to this. If you're a weak, frail, worthless human, you're not going to get this. You're not going to get any real power. You almost need to have an already worthy body. Like, one of the reasons why Astartes can become demon princes is they have bodies that can withstand all the chaotic energies of the warp. They have the means and the ability to actually further this good beyond just like what you or I would be able to do.
That's one of the most interesting parts about Be'lakor, which we will get into right now. The sheer amount of stuff we do not know about the guy.
Yeah, he is ancient.
Yeah, that will either make this episode incredibly short or unimaginably long, because it gives you so much potential to speculate and have your tales of the warp about Be'lakor. I mean, come on, the guy. So yeah, and on the question, who can become a demon prince and who can ascend to demonhood, I like the argument that an Astartes is a great vessel, is somebody who already has a foot in the door, and a puny, regular-ass human would physically alone, as soon as shit gets real with the warp, be at a disadvantage. However, we should never underestimate the vileness and the weakness of the soul of regular-ass humans that have not been psycho-indoctrinated, that have not been, even fallen Marines, even traitor Marines, are Astartes. And they have been grooved, and I mean grooved, not groomed. I actually mean what I say. Yeah, there are grooves in them in which they have to remain when they're thinking or acting. And
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of potential in the weakness of humans is a different one, and weakness is what chaos works with.
Yeah, like, for example, like, all Astartes are going to be first indoctrinated into like the cult of the Emperor, where not every human has that baseline. They might be on a planet that's never even been in contact with the Imperium. So there's not that necessary link or that indoctrination already upon them that they have to either break through or that they're constantly kind of battling against. Like every heretic Astartes like is against the corpse emperor, but not every human even knows who the corpse emperor is. And you know, that could be a boon or not depending on what you're trying to accomplish for the chaos god. Like maybe the chaos god doesn't really care at this moment about attacking the Imperium. Maybe he's trying to corrupt the Xenos planet for once, you know, and then you don't have to try to overcome that Astartes brainwashing.
Yeah, that also brings up the point, even Inquisitors, like Astartes, like normally like a Chaos Space Marine or like a normal Astartes, they individually do not have the power to just like blow up a planet. An Inquisitor though, like, oh, this guy talked to me wrong, blam.
Yes. There we go.
The joys of being an Inquisitor.
It can go sideways really quickly if you think about it, because with all that power and the assuredness that you are on the wrong side, I mean, look at the people who decide what is and what is not cool on podcasting platforms, YouTube and Facebook. Those are some people who are usually not that useful in real life, and they get some power, and then your shit gets pulled. And if you contradict their opinion or ask for a reason, they go, well, it's been reviewed, it's been pulled. Bye, thanks. Worst example, Reddit moderators.
So oh god bad. I love just reading what they say about Lorehammer on Reddit. It's truly they have a very fun picture of who I am on there. It's awesome.
Yeah. It might be correct, but it might not something they enjoy. But yeah, that's the thing. You get kick ban muted instantly, so you can't have the debate. So this is the Inquisitor. If he's a bad one, you know, if the Inquisitor is worth his salt, it's some kind of Eisenhorn that doubts his shit and the institution itself. But yeah, oh my god, yes, chaos corruption. This is a never-ending topic.
Yeah, and power corrupts absolutely. So you get those Inquisitors are very likely to fall, man, and they're dealing with the horrors of the warp or just whatever type of absolute absurdities they're always dealing with. Yeah, the chance of them falling the longer they live it just kind of adds another bean into the pile there. Callus on the chat says, what would a Tau demon prince look like? So another aspect of this, I think, would be not everyone has the same, you know, we use kind of the word soul or psychic presence.
Psychic resonance, yeah.
Psychic resonance. And since Tau have such a minor one, I don't think there's any examples of them turning to chaos. It's kind of just like, if you're making an ultimate being of ultimate power, you don't want to start with something that doesn't even have a good starting spot. It's that baseline isn't even there to meet the power level that they want. So chances are good you're never going to see a Tau Demon Prince because they just don't have that effect in the warp.
True, but Farsight is trying to be corrupted by Khorne. I don't know how that's like shaping out in like modern lore, but it's still there, like the possibility, like this extreme chance of like this one extremely powerful Tau under extremely like different circumstances, he is being tempted somewhat.
Oh yes, and we do have examples as well of Tau being corrupted by Tzeentch in one of the Farsight novels, if I remember correctly. Yes, indeed. But a demon prince, I am completely with Mark, as I think you might as well, Jax. There's if I want to build a real life Astartes, I'm going with fucking Shaquille O'Neal and not Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Although, wouldn't we like to see a Danny DeVito Astartes?
You could build a mean ass Votan with him.
Oh yes, hell yes.
30 years off his age, and then straight training with Joe Rogan for like the next 10 years. Give him a mean-ass power armor, a bloody plasma drill. There you got your Votan.
Oh, perfect. That's a whole new picture that I love. Hats off to Danny DeVito, one of the greats, man. It's just like, yeah, you want to start off with the best, and that way you can only get more powerful. You know, you don't want to start with that low ranking stuff and then have to try to bump it up and give it more power just to make it equal with everything else. So,
But Korn going for Farsight, why not? Because he's not the big magic boy. He just needs you to be angry as fuck. And the rest will come.
and also with Farsight, the other thing he has going for him that other Tau don't is his extended lifespan through that weapon that he wields. So, you know, being hundreds of years old.
You can accumulate interest.
Yeah, exactly. The more you kill, the longer he'll live. So it's kind of, that's another aspect that he has going for him that not every Tau has. And even though Tau have like lots of life regenerating technology and probably can live 1,000 years if they really enhance them and keep pumping them full of drugs or whatever, it's a different type of energy that Farsight's wielding.
Indeed.
Very like similar to like Korn though, the way I see it, like Farsight's like, oh, my back is getting a little sore, stabs an orc, it's like, okay, all better. Just like,
yeah,
he's still like fueling blood. Yeah.
Allow me, gentlemen, to bring us closer to the topic. Mark, you explain to us what a demon prince of chaos or demon prince would look like and how this whole shebang works. Let us get to know the guy, Be'lakor, the Dark Master and the first damned. This is important. Stands as the primeval demon prince, raised from mortality by the fused will of the ruinous powers. Ageless beyond reckoning, he was the first of his kind, a being whose dark apotheosis was forged by the collective will of the Chaos Guards, embodying the essence of chaos undivided. Sorry, I could not resist. Chaos undivided, of course. Each dark god imbued him with a fragment of their might, binding his fate to the eternal war of their rivalries and forcing him to serve them all. So they initially tried to get him to be the vessel of all their shit. Well, that was the plan. But initially, Be'lakor manipulated the gods' envy, artfully playing their jealousies against each other without swearing fealty to any single deity. For a time, the gods warred over him like squabbling children coveting a toy. Yet they soon saw the futility of concentrating their power in one vessel, for Be'lakor proved too formidable, his ambitions too insatiable. Thus, the gods chose others, raising new demon princes, each loyal to one power alone. While Be'lakor remained supreme among demon princes, his strength diminished as their blessings were divided among other champions. Yet even as his dominion faded, Be'lakor lurked in the shrouds of history, casting his shadow over the galaxy, weaving plots that sowed the will of chaos across the stars. Oh, our boy did the work, all right. On the battlefield, he is a horror made manifest, wielding the Blade of Shadows, a vast weapon that shimmers between substance and shadow, slipping between shapes. In its flickering edge lies a dread power, piercing through flesh, steel, and ferrocrete alike, with fluid ease. Whether this blade is a part of Be'lakor's essence, or an ancient gift of the Dark Gods, clutched fast through his fall from favor, that remains a mystery.
Yeah, it's interesting with like demon princes and lots of servants of chaos where they almost have weapons that in and of themselves are their own named characters. Like Abaddon has Drachnia, which is its own demon bound in a blade and has its own motivations and desires and can also try to manipulate the wielder. But with the Blade of Shadows, we don't really know what it is. Is it an extension of Be'lakor himself, or has he trapped a powerful demon in it, or we don't fully know. But it's interesting, this kind of dual character and dual motivation that can often come about when you're dealing with chaos.
He's a slippery guy.
Everyone has their own motivations and drives and pull, and yeah, including their weapons.
I like the fact that, just to talk about that first part, I like the fact that the Chaos Gods thought themselves so clever by picking one as everybody's teacher pet, and then lost control over him.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah, it's
flipped the
crazy.
script on them. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, as it says, he's the first damned, and like after that, all the chaos gods made their own demons. It's like, hey, let's just share a guy. Oh shit, that didn't work. Let's just make our own guys.
But
Yeah.
imagine if it worked. You know?
Yeah, we have almost some examples of like them trying it again. Like Perturabo is a demon prince of Undivided. There's a couple of the Primarchs that kind of have that undivided status where they try again. But yeah, then the more hands in the pie, it's just the more voices and the more option for them to go one way or the other and turn against whoever. It just gives that Be'lakor, Perturabo that much more freedom to become their own kind of demon.
Definitely.
Honestly, though, that's really cool. Though, like, you can imagine, like, sorry, the politics in the warp. Like, oh, this guy's leader for one day, and then he gets shivved by another demon, and then next demon's in charge. Be'lakor has been in charge of demons for however long he's been alive, which is like over 10,000 years, which is crazy.
Yeah. I wonder too if when they Chaos Gods originally kind of made him, if some of the Chaos Gods were kind of in weaker states. Like, was Slaanesh even around technically when he was made? And the warp is a weird thing where, like, yes, he was, because the warp has no time and no meaning. And yeah, we can track when Slaanesh was made in real space, but that doesn't mean anything when it comes to the warp. But like, it definitely seems like maybe there was a little less power when they made him, therefore a little less control over him.
I would like to make things even worse for us to wrap our heads around.
Please.
It is not only the fact that time in the warp does not really work, and that if a chaos entity as mighty as Slaanesh coalesces, it does so in the past, the present, and the future. Even though there is a time, a point in time, which is so fucked. But yeah, let's not try to understand it, otherwise we will fall.
Yeah, we have feeble human brains, and we're not.
Yeah.
I have a hard enough time trying to understand what happened 1,000 years ago and put that into a scope, let alone the whole universe timeline going back 60 million years. It's an incomprehensible amount of time, and you'll get fucked right up if you think about that.
Yeah, and I find it hard to compare Be'lakor to other higher demons because of his special position, which is none. You know, he's not really part of this whole Game of Thrones, let's have a walk through the Rose Garden. Oh my god, you got stabbed. It's not really, it's not Bellacor's realm or dominion to work with. And so therefore, it is really, he is special, and that's why we dedicate an episode to him today.
Yeah. This one's for you, Be'lakor.
Yeah. If my boy's listening out there in the world.
Purge in the chat says, so is Belly from Ancient Terra. It must be intriguing if we, Emperor Nemesis, that some of these chats are not typed properly, so it makes a pain to fucking read. If
hard.
we, Emperor Nemesis, the entire time manipulating him from the beginning. Yeah, like, we definitely know he is a human. We know that, so then it kind of implies that he is from Terra, Ancient Terra, but I don't think it's ever stated, like, he's so ancient and so old.
I mean, I didn't find anything that told me he was a human originally. In 40k, we will check on the differences later, but yeah.
Turns out he's just an orc the whole time.
I feel just like most chaos demon princes are human. Like, you don't ever, like, yeah, there are examples of orc chaos demon princes, but primarily most of them are human. So you can only assume that he himself would be human as well. Like, there's inference there, but not necessarily fact. And you're right about that. I shouldn't say he is one human, but I imagine he is.
If I wanted to create the Keeper of Secrets, and of course there are 4 special demon princes that basically reign supreme and are named characters, but if I wanted to make the ultimate Keeper of Secrets, I would use an Eldar. I would use a bloody Drukhari. If I could.
Or for Slanesh, for Drukhari.
That's exactly what I mean, you know?
They're just I get what you're saying.
I didn't mean a
about
lot
that.
of change. I meant a keeper of secrets. These are terribly named.
Yeah, I get what you're saying with that, but I feel like there's just something special with the human's connection to the warp. Depending on canon sources that you go from edition era, humans created most of the chaos gods. Like we created Khorne, we created Nurgle during the Black Plague. There's just something special and unique with the human soul that the other ones, while they might have a higher amount of psychic presence, it took the entire Eldar race thousands of years of doing debaucherous things to create Slaanesh, you know, where Eldar or humans just have that something different that we can't quite tangibly
We
name
are
or put
a
a finger
special
on.
kind of fucked up. I'm sorry, we are a special kind of fucked up. It's since we're getting to know each other, Marcus, I need to let you know that I do not buy the bullshit lore of Khorne being created by humans in the Middle Ages or Nurgle during the Plague. This is bullcrap. You explained it yourself. Slaanesh was a way bigger deal. So yeah, I do not believe that the old lore concerning the it's my second language, excuse me, works. But humans being a special flavor, all right, I'm going straight with you on that one.
Yeah, I like to believe humans did create the 3 chaos gods. Well, to an extent, right? Because maybe during the War in Heaven, Khorne was created because this was a massive conflict. And then the Necron tier became the Necron, and then Khorne kind of subsided a little bit. He became less powerful. Also, like plague tactics for Nurgle, they subsided when the Necron tier became Necrons because they were no longer flesh, and that's like half of the equation just cut out. But then when humanity rose up and we started doing all our humanity type things, they grew in power again.
Just humaning.
Just humans doing human things. Yeah, when dealing with the warp, we're never going to find a solid answer, I think, is going to be the thing. And I think that's the best part about the warp.
You see, the warp is an ocean.
All right. Yeah. We stole that one from you, Mark, by the way. The bloody ocean metaphor. Not the gap,
Plagiarism.
but the actual metaphor. It works so bloody well.
Lorehammer Legal's coming after you.
All right, come at me, bro. I'm in Switzerland. I will throw money at the problem until it goes away.
Yeah, you just wave your Patreon tag at Lorehammer Legal and they're like, oh, hello. Homeboy, you're good.
Special access to the IP, I reckon. So yeah. Be'lakor, gentlemen. Be'lakor's movements. Let's talk about how he's moving, all right? His movements are smoke and nightmare made flesh. A phantom presence that unhinges the minds of mortals and crushes their resolve under waves of paralyzing dread. He revels in manipulation, pulling others to ruin from the shadows, never revealing his true form until the moment of utter despair, when he rends his foes asunder with the blade of shadows and claws of psychic malice, and tear through the minds of his prey. The mightiest of all demon princes, Be'lakor, has lorded over countless empires, reveling in his unholy cunning and ruthless cruelty, annihilating all that he touches. He craves the Chaos God's favor like a poison in his soul, his malice rivaled only by his envy for those who bask in the dark grace he has lost. Merciless, capricious, and eternally consumed by jealousy, Be'lakor's only constancy is the hatred with which he destroys, and his unyielding ambition to reclaim the god's favor once more. Oh, there is a great quote. I'm gonna put that right at the end. He is not many, he is one. He is the first, a creature as old as creation itself. He has moved unseen between the stars for millennia, twisting the fates of many races and feeding upon their misery. But I have found him. I have learned his name. Tech Magos, of course, Kyber Arbastri to the Council of Chalice. Fucking AdMac. Oh, give me a break.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
jealous little spoiled brat.
Yes.
Corn, please love me some more.
That is so
Yeah.
weird because he fucked him over, didn't he? He
Mhm.
basically said, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a boy. Yeah, don't you start quabbling over me. There's enough Be'lakor for all of you." And then he basically buggered off without committing to any of the 4 suitors.
Yeah, and maybe it's like we'll probably learn a little bit more, but maybe he realized like, okay, so he was created. He kind of swore off the chaos gods, but then maybe he realized he reached a peak or a cap of his power level, and he's now like at this point where he's like, well, the only way to get more power is maybe to regain the favors of the god to get another power boost, like because on his own he's almost reached his full potential now, and it's almost unlimited potential, but there's still this next level that he can't quite reach without the power of the god.
I love to think of it as the show like Bachelorette or Bachelor. He goes on a little date with each of them. He gets to know them personally, and at the very end, he picks and chooses. But instead of that, he just ditches.
I mean, he is the Dark Bachelor. That should be one of his names.
Just got like a little rose.
The Dark Bachelor.
For realsies.
This episode on Chaos Bachelorette.
Yeah, the Dark Bachelor, deep in warp.
Corn wines and dines Be'lakor.
Will he be swayed? Not if the sun sets and he gets to indulge in slanacious pleasures.
I want it. I need it. Henry Cavill produced this show next.
He's got to do the Dark Bachelor, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, I see you're selling t-shirts already. All right. But yeah, this is really interesting because we have been hinting at Be'lakor as this basically complete or not really beatable super demon. I mean, but he's flawed to the core. It is shown here, especially with his enormous, raging jealousy that really forces him to act upon an impulse, which is never good for a one-person superpower like Be'lakor.
Well, let's learn a little bit more about this ancient evil.
The origins of Be'lakor linger in the universe as fragments of dark legends and rumors, whispered by captive demons and etched on the walls of ancient crypts. Even the barren caves of lifeless worlds bear crude depictions of his immortal reign, while primitive idols hidden beneath death world's oceans pay homage to his enduring shadow over the galaxy. Driven to madness, scholars have scoured forbidden lore in search of Be'lakor's hidden influence, tracing his presence through the ages, always concealed behind the rise of mortal empires. The Grey Knights, secretive warriors of the Emperor, sworn to battle demons, possess only fragments of Be'lakor's history, whispers of lies and delusions as indecipherable as they are conflicting. Stories of the Dark Master describe him ruling mortal empires since time's dawn, conquering world after world, forcing their populations into god worship at his feet. When the civilizations he corrupted inevitably crumbled under his malignity, he would abandon them, seeking a new race to enthrall. Through the eons, he has been said to rule vast stellar empires, a dark god of demonkind residing over countless worlds and the billions who revered him in dread. Dead worlds scattered across the galaxy still hold relics of these ancient decayed empires. Tecmo Mago's cipher of the Adeptus Mechanicus, obsessed with unraveling Be'lakor's history, has dedicated his life to following the faint echoes of the Demon Prince.
It's cool how he's not just trying to affect other humans. Like, he really doesn't have a preference of race, He's gonna try to corrupt anything that he comes in contact with, and then the ultimate outcome is not that he wants them to like worship him for all time. It seems like he's perfectly content with them leading an empire into ruin, and then just going on to the next one. Whether it's human, Eldar, some minor Xenos, whether they're sentient or not necessarily, I can see him even like influencing wildlife on a planet just to go berserk and start killing each other, and that's good enough for him.
Oh my god, you guys, Be'lakor is like the ultimate hardcore liberal.
So
not.
progressive. He
wants
doesn't see race.
He wants everybody to be fucked the same. In Soviet Russia, everybody fucked. Except for elite. But you always give elite, so what you gonna do about that?
Vote Be'lakor president 2020. What's next?
I don't care anymore. I don't know if there will be 2028.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to 200 episodes, but World War III might stop that, and then we're going to birth a new Chaos God in reality, but that's a little fun. And this is what I'm saying, man. As soon as you start talking about real world dark
exactly.
shit,
That's why we need Warhammer
fuck.
to cope. I mean, as a European and as a German, we have been in the center of the Cold fucking War, literally. I mean, our country was divided. And both armies would have amassed in our country. Which is kind of fitting because we started some shit earlier, but nobody really remembers. So let's talk about other stuff. And
lest we forget, I've been told, sir.
And now shit's getting real, and we need to decide whether or not we will be an alliance or not. So yeah, this is the plot of a fantasy or a sci-fi opera, in my opinion. So this is our time, guys. We've been preparing for this.
It's humanity's time to shine right now. Oh yes, do what we do best: destroy and corrupt.
Yeah. There were two crazy things I found in this. First of all, he ruled stellar empires, so possibly like the Tau to a degree, like not the Tau, the real Tau, but like a race like the Tau. He probably like took command over at one point and ruled like a system or something. Also, the other crazy thing I found, the Grey Knights. Usually, when a Grey Knights find the name of a demon, they're like, "Oh, here it is. Now we have ultimate control over them." But that doesn't seem the case now.
I mean, there is the name of a demon, and then there is its true name. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, like Be'lakor is not his name. That's kind of the name humans can pronounce, where like we wouldn't be able to fathom his actual true name in the warp. Like our tongues don't speak that language. Our minds don't comprehend.
Oh, this
its
is so
meaning.
Lovecraft, buddy.
So to understand,
yeah.
yeah. So we call him Be'lakor, and that's what we think his name is. But we can't fathom his name, his actual true name.
I was about to say like Be'lakor like is invading a world and is like, "I am Be'lakor, the Grey Knight." It's like, write that down.
Jot that down.
I can't believe nobody tried this before, brother. Oh my god. I just put Macho Man Randy Savage into the Adeptus Astartes. No, even worse, Grey Knights. So yeah, this must be the best kept secret in the warp. Be'lakor's true name.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it can't just be out there in the warp because it's gonna be singed and yoinked like nobody's business. But yeah.
Countless have tried to learn it, and they're all driven mad. And halfway through this episode, we're gonna do a sanity check on the three of us just to make sure we're all still here and we haven't like fallen to the chaos. Like, okay, Jax, I noticed you're cutting your wrists over there. Like, you doing okay, bud? Or did Be'lakor get to you?
Don't worry, I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine.
I have about 30 bladed weapons, historical weapons in this room with me. So if I fall, you're gonna see it, brother.
Yo, yeah, as a quick like derailment, I remember years ago when you first reached out to me, it was like, yeah, you're just showing me all your I would call it SCA,
Oh, please
like
do
all your
not
armor
call
and
it
all the stuff that
SCA.
you cut. And I apologize, I don't know well enough. What would you
Bloody-
call it? But yeah,
yeah.
you were showing me all your shit, and it was so fucking
It's
cool,
called
man.
HEMA, European historical European martial arts. There we go. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I truly meant no offense. Don't come after me with your gear.
No, I wasn't saying it because of my ego, but to appease all my friends of our great European sword fighting scene, because it's been growing since
Your HEMA
it's
brethren.
been growing since 30 years, and it's not only HEMA, it's also reenactment, combat fighting, and we've got like battles of 600 fucking Vikings that go just full contact on each other in Poland, in Berlin. I had the honor several times to command 30 of my guys in that. So I understand when somebody likes corn,
Go
on
get
the
'em,
tabletop.
boys.
I get it. I get it. I like the sound. I like the smell of fear. I like to yell out my rage and bonk some bitch on the head. I mean, that's just, yeah. Oh, and orcs. Orcs are very relatable too, since I have that hobby.
Quick Inquisition check.
Very cool.
What do you scream when going to battle?
What, me?
Mhm.
Oh, guys, let's have some fun, shall we?
Except in German, he says that.
Not in German. We're still in Poland. That doesn't fare well.
Okay. Polska.
You just go, ja pierdolę, kurwa! Woo, woo, woo! So yeah, Be'lakor.
Yeah. Relentless. Relentless. Techmagos Cypher. He scours the galaxy, uncovering relics of the Dark Age technology. Winged statues carved from the fossilized bones of psychers. Brittle scrolls of flayed skin bearing images of thousands kneeling to a dark winged figure. And fragments of Stygian horns preserved in sacred containers. Yet Cyper, oblivious to Bellacor's nature, has come to believe that these relics are remnants of one ancient alien overlord, a being who has worn countless faces across the aeons, a god that corrupts and destroys civilizations. Unseen, Be'lakor guides Cyper's journey, sowing clues along his path, subtly directing him to the ruins of realms the Dark Master once ruled. Cyper relentlessly uncovers forgotten star systems and desolate worlds, all remnants of Bellacor's conquest. Unwittingly, Cyper gathers the Demon Prince's lost relics and piece by piece restores to Be'lakor his scattered power, erasing every trace of his presence as he unearths the terrible history that was meant to be forgotten. And we got a quote here, Hark well as I tell you the name of Be'lakor, first damned. May his forgotten true name be forever cursed in his arrogance. He drew the gaze of all the chaos gods to this world, bringing damnation upon us all. Frederick Worriedy, chronicler of the end times.
This is the fun part about Be'lakor, where it's like he's manipulating everyone. There's potential he might be an alien, but also is that just a lie that he's telling this guy to gather more stuff? Like, you just can't trust him, and every truth is not even a truth. It's a falsehood that leads to more power for Be'lakor. He's not going to reveal anything that takes away his power, but just reveal things that will manipulate you into giving him more stuff, more power.
Oh shit, he is the ultimate god of the internet right now. He will tell you like 20% of the story with the video, with the photos of what's happening, but giving you the complete wrong context, or not even lying to you, but giving you exactly the amount of the right context that he needs you to see or to know in order to sell your soul and be absolutely in his sell yourself to this cause that you feel needs to be furthered. Fucking hell, he's the social media god.
He's the ultimate troll.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it, where it's just like we all probably could whip out our phone right now and go onto the exact same spot, and we're all going to get different information. We're at that age now where like everything is showing up differently for everyone. I've seen one crazy one where men and women, when they scroll through like Facebook comments, different shit pulls up for a man or a woman. because everything is just trying to manipulate and control you into one type of worldview
In
or
the
another.
comments.
And that doesn't. Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, there's some crazy shit. Like, a fun little experiment is if you have a girlfriend, or for those who don't, go to your mother, and go scroll through the same Facebook post or the same post and see if your comments actually match up. See if you can actually see the same comments. The algorithm's really fucking with everyone, and just like Be'lakor, people are trying to control and manipulate you into doing things, and everyone's seeing something different nowadays.
I mean, phones are spying on us. I recently spent 2 hours with my girlfriend's phone when she was making herself ready in the bathroom, and I was just whispering, medieval swords and shields, German beer, muscle cars.
Yeah, really just set that ad algorithm up for her to benefit you.
So what you're saying is that Be'lakor is Mark Zuckerberg? That makes so much sense now.
Or as Purge says in the chat, Be'lakor is the CIA.
He is what the CIA want to be, really.
Purge also asks, would the Chaos Gods know his name? I would imagine they do. I would imagine so. But it's also one of those things, maybe it has been lost to time. Maybe the Chaos Gods don't even care, because compared to the Chaos Gods, he still is ultimately insignificant and still a pawn of their great game that they're playing. So they might have forgotten it themselves.
I feel like if Zeech got a hold of his name and like Be'lakor like did something to piss him off or something, any one of those Chaos Gods will, probably not just Zeech, but any one of those Chaos Gods would probably just like whisper his name to a Grey Knight, and the Grey Knights are like, okay.
Well, this information was not sanctioned. This could be a ruse. I shall not kill Be'lakor. On the contrary, I shall aid him. Come on, brothers. Please explain the mission to me again, brother.
So where did you hear Be'lakor's name? The God Emperor.
A vision of the God Emperor.
It came to me. I heard a voice.
Yes, go on.
Oh, brother, how you fallen. Anyways, Herald of the End Times. Be'lakor's hatred festers like a poisonous wound, his jealousy consuming him with a vengeful hunger towards anyone who gained the dark god's favor. For millennia, he has sowed discord, tearing apart the schemes of both mortal and demon servants of chaos. But what he perceives as freedom and vengeance is, in truth, nothing more than the Chaos God's great game. When he strikes down a champion of Nurgle, it is at Chinch's whim. When he lays a warrior of Khorne low, he serves Slanish's design. Yet Be'lakor's thirst for dominance and his delight is undermining rival champions blind him to the chains of the dark gods, bind ever tighter around his neck. In recent times, rumors speak of Be'lakor lurking in the shadows of the War Master of Chaos himself, Abaddon the Despoiler. It is said that he has followed Abaddon for centuries, subtly guiding events around him, their fates intertwined by forces beyond even Be'lakor's control. In each of Abaddon's Black Crusades, the Master of Shadow has proven unseen. During the Third Black Crusade, legends whisper of Be'lakor's twisted Talamin, a demon prince, into joining Abaddon's cause and assailing Cadia. In the Sixth Black Crusade, it was Be'lakor who revealed the treachery of Drarikoth the Sightless to Abaddon, leading to the annihilations of the Sons of the Eye. Yet each time, Be'lakor's aid served darker purposes. Though Talamin decimated the forces of Cadia, it came at a severe cost to Abaddon's own Black Legion, while Drarikoth, he had lived, could become a formidable ally to the, if he had lived, could have become a formidable ally to the Despoiler. This is interesting too, a kind of note about Abaddon himself, where he likes to think that he is kind of using the chaos powers and that he's solo. Like, why hasn't he turned into a demon prince himself? He's kind of holding out power, but ultimately he himself is still just a pawn, just like Be'lakor is a pawn. Everyone who interacts with any of the chaos gods ultimately are just a pawn, and there's no way to go around that. Whether you think you are or not, you're still just playing into their great game.
Herr Teacher, I have a question. I thought Abaddon don't give no hoot about the gods, and he is basically being he's playing difficult to get,
Copium.
leading them on because he is so bloody arrogant, and I mean it kind of works, until now, but yeah.
But yeah, like that's the thing. He's arrogant, and he might think that, but like ultimately, where does Abaddon's power come from? He's still wielding a demon sword. You think that's not manipulating him in some way? And whether it's, whether this plays out in the next century or 10,000 years from now, ultimately, Abaddon ripped the galaxy in half, not for his own benefit. Like, yeah, he benefits from it, but he's still serving the whims of chaos, the chaos gods, whether he likes to admit it or not. And yeah, he can kind of withhold himself from fully getting absorbed by the chaos gods, and he might have that will to kind of keep him from doing that, but he's still playing their great game. He is still but a pawn, just like every other servant who gets touched by the forces of chaos. That power comes at a price, whether you like to admit it or not.
So even if your record label is neither West Coast nor East Coast, you're still part of the same bullshit dynamic going on, and you will be affected by it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did some reading up on the Sons of the Eye, and it really puts into perspective, like, was he really going to betray Abaddon? Or was this just like Bellacor's master plan, where it's like, Abaddon's like, I'm my own person. I do what I want when I want. I don't need the Chaos Gods. Anyway, time to kill another one of my brothers for corn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you don't get to walk around in the warp without being their pawn, whether you like to admit it or not.
Unless you're the big chat daddy that got lost, the Grey Knight dude.
Oh yeah,
Drago, genau. Yeah.
Or Corvus
There we go.
Corax, I mean.
Yeah. Or yeah, but even Corvus Corvax, he's slowly being corrupted is maybe not the right word, but he is no longer who he was outside of the warp. He is a shadow form of himself, a wisp in the warp. And what does that really mean?
He might be a reduction of the part that is the part in a Primarch that is of the warp.
Yeah, like each Primarch. Each Primarch is like a part of the warp, like has that like connection to the warp, and they have their human form, but once they go into the warp and like mess around there, they can like shed that off to become more psychic. Corvus is not the most psychic Primarch, but still he's like super powerful. He can maintain his sanity and composure and loyalties while inside the warp. And for the word bearers, he's this demon. He like shows up, kills a few, runs away, looks for Lorgar, tries to beat him up. He escapes. Oh shit! Got to kill all of his sons now.
That's the second aspect of his. Firstly, I believe that he's a reduction of his warp essence. That is every Primarch to a certain extent. Plus, the energy that fuels that is his hatred for Lorgar. He's basically just a energy in the warp that is there to hunt down fucking Lorgar and end him. So I like to believe that. But yeah, that's Primarch speculation. Let's do another episode on that. Oh, you already did. All right, let's go.
I love for Be'lakor and Corvus just to go at it.
Oh, heck yeah.
These two shadowy beings just punching each other.
Shadow over shadow.
But yeah, I always appreciated, I always appreciated the similarities of the situation of Abaddon and Be'lakor. Is there, will we dive into that in the notes further, or is it worth talking about this right now?
I think right now might be appropriate. I don't think we mention Abaddon too much more.
Because this is really a thing. I mean, how does Be'lakor exactly aid and or betray Abaddon? Because this might give us a few answers to what the nature of the respective players here is. Because I don't have a bloody clue. I'm literally asking you guys right now.
All I know is Khorne doesn't care from where the blood flows. Whether you're a human on a planet and you kill, like, I just think these guys, they can plot and scheme against each other all they want, or like Purge says he thinks Be'lakor created the Horus heresy to help the Emperor become a chaos god so he can manipulate his own ambitions and like slight the chaos gods. But once again, like these gods, they don't care. You know, when you die, you feed Nurgle. Your death and decay, that is how Nurgle is born. It's inescapable regardless of your ambitions and your desires or who you think you're fucking over. Oh, you're playing all these plots and schemes. Now you're feeding Chinch. Good job, everyone.
Okay, now I get why Eric and you used to yell at each other so much. That's not what I asked, Marcus.
Sorry, fuck. Maybe I don't have a good answer for you.
The thing is, Be'lakor, you that was clever of you. You basically diverted towards the chaos gods directly when I was asking about Be'lakor and Abaddon. You know, because these are still individuals that make decisions. They are not just embodiments of 4 different chaos energies. Or Jax, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not like, they're, as you said, it's not like they're embodiments. They have ideologies. They have ideals. So, in a way, like Be'lakor could like betray Abaddon by like holding back like demons, but then again, like the Khorne demons are just gonna run into the fray anyway. No side can truly like betray each other, to be real with you. Like Abaddon needs Be'lakor. He needs that like chaos undivided on his side just to like maintain this like, I'm not swearing myself to any god. I'm my own man. And Be'lakor needs Abaddon to be like, this guy has Astartes. He's pretty chill.
He's pretty chill. There we go.
So did Jax do a better job? Do you and Jax need to do a podcast so you don't have to yell at me?
Oh my god. Please do not shun me. As I did shun you. No, this is a great triangle, guys. I think I got all the information I need. Yeah, thanks.
To start your own cult. Perfect. Excellent. We'll jump back to notes unless you have any further thoughts on that.
Oh yeah, no issue at all.
Behind the veils of deception, Be'lakor's allegiance remains unknowable, his every move wrapped in secret and lies. Whether he truly serves the Chaos Gods or seeks to thwart them is remaining a mystery, and yet his manipulations have undeniably paved the path towards Abaddon's ascension. As the end times approach, Be'lakor stands once again in Abaddon's shadow. When the Despoiler launches his 13th Black Crusade against the Imperium, the Demon Prince is there, integrating himself with the War Master, making himself indispensable, a supposed herald of the ruinous powers. But it is the jealousy and hatred that truly drive him, and one can only guess how Be'lakor will turn up his treachery upon Abaddon to seize the power and glory for himself. Only Be'lakor knows when and how his ultimate betrayal will strike.
There we go.
Interesting.
There we go. Jealousy. That's the thing.
Jealousy, yeah.
Abaddon is basically the upstart, you know? And
Sure.
Be'lakor is the OG. He is the first. That we didn't really focus on that yet, because Abaddon is the first to ascend.
Yeah.
The first mortal to ascend. Be'lakor, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and how much more power does he get because of that, and how much more like he's just truly the one of a kind being, when no one else is like him for sure.
Yeah, that's something and a half.
Yeah, the Emperor has his Primarchs, and the Chaos Gods have their mismatched demons, Astartes, and all that. I like to think like they're children to the Chaos Gods. So when Be'lakor's like, well, Khorne won't love me anymore just because Abaddon's here, so I'm gonna kill him in a fit of rage or something.
Yeah,
and Abaddon's
set him up for failure. Yeah. Back in the day, everyone used to call Abaddon Fail Abaddon, and that was just Be'lakor going around whispering that name. He's actually not doing very well. He's like,
he's Fail Abaddon the Armless, because he manipulated our reality to make the models shitty, you know?
Yeah, because he's jealous of the new upstart.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we need to mention the bloody mini.
Yeah. His updated mini is tight, man.
Gosh, it is something, really. I don't play Chaos at all. I'm hardcore loyal. My first army is Deathcore of Krieg, as you know, Mark, and with the forest theme that I gave them, and the second is my Night House, of course, that is on the same bloody planet because let's go. So loyalist to the core. I would buy Be'lakor just to paint him and have him. Yeah. That's just an amazing model.
It's crazy the difference between his old model and his new one.
It's unbelievable. It was so overdue. Look at the two.
Yeah, the similarities, like they look like the same mini, but just it's not like they gave him a different body or a different horned head or anything like that. They just really upscaled him and gave him way more detail. Like sometimes they don't stay that true to the mini, but this one they really stayed true to his original design and stuff, but just like made it fresh, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, Be'lakor he just looks like Be'lakor. Like a weird dragon, demon, something or other.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy to picture how, we were talking about how on many different planets and caves and secret places they have etches of this demon. Like he is the archetypal demon when you close your eyes and picture. A lot of times we picture like bloodletters and bloodthirsters as kind of that like archetypal demon, but that's like more of like a Christianity themed archetypal demon as opposed to just like demon.
Cartoonish devils and demons. There is a difference and a shift in pop culture, I believe. One of the reasons why my podcast colleague Jabba, glad he's not here, why he fuck that guy. I mean, come on. No, he couldn't make it. But yeah, he fell in love with Korn immediately because he looked at Bloodletters and he was like, this is some 80s thrash metal cover shit. I love it. Let's fucking go. And it's simple enough for him to comprehend because he has the brain of a pigeon. And so this is the cartoonish devil depiction, but stylish as hell. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. Abaddon, you say rightly so, has a way more regal, way more mighty, way more shadowy, literally shadowy appearance. And he looks like he comes from the depths of something else than hell. Something deeper even, you know? And that's what I really enjoy about the mini. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I gotta up my game for that mini, bro. I gotta be ready. Yeah, I gotta drink all the shakes and train up. I gotta finish a whole fucking Tyranid army just to be ready for this.
They just came out with a bunch of new Kriegsmen.
Oh, we got Plastic Krieg now. Yay.
And a named character. I mean, who would have thought?
Fucking cool. I haven't seen any of that shit yet, so I just have been hearing the rumblings of it. But
I had a peek. I love the guns. I love the vehicles. The new Malcadors and Valdors are amazing. But I do not appreciate what they did with the Plastic Krieg because the Forge World Kriegers they have a better and more realistic aesthetic, in my opinion. The gas masks look way better because they're way more fucked up, you know. And yeah, well, my first army was Deathcore of Krieg, so it was all resin. I learned the hard way, and I'm still doing 40k, so you're not gonna get rid of me. But yeah, that's it. That's Plastic Kriegers. That's the news. Glad we get some love. Glad we don't get deleted. The bloody Death Riders. They finally did the feet right.
Yeah, no more like camel toes on them.
Yeah, I mean, this is vicious shit right now. But yeah,
I can't wait to go look at them after this show. Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to think like any other faction when dealing with Be'lakor, it's like, oh shit, it's Be'lakor. What are we gonna do? Kriegsman is just like, shoot all your guns at him.
Schaut euch diesen großen Bastard an und werden wir jetzt direkt mal wegficken. Also, schaufeln raus, Männer. Los geht's.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Of course, I had to pick Krieg as my first army. I come from a bigger German city that is basically only there because of the chemical plant. I learned to use gas masks when I was 5.
Instead of a teddy bear, you just get a gas mask to hold you close at night.
No, the shovel. Get learned about other
the sh-
cultures, Mark.
Fuck, sorry. I am ignorant. I'm.
No, it's actually the bayonet. But no, I used to have band practice in a bunker that was built by the bloody Nazis. So of course it had to be deathcore. I mean, foreshadowing. Oh, shadows, Bellacore. Oh, the topic.
When people pick guardsmen as their faction, it's because they can like relate to the normal human. You pick deathcore because you relate to the deathcore.
Thank you, sir. He understands.
Were you also grown in a bag?
Maybe.
Well, on a darker note, I am a half orphan, and my dad raised me. So, how much more Creek does it get?
Yeah, that's
Background.
that's not nice, but I'm not happy for you about that situation. But it seems to work out good for you.
Yeah, there we go. No, never ask a German how he does. How are you doing? How do you do? We don't do that because you get an answer. You know? We invented autism. Just saying.
Oh, that's crazy. And hamburgers, I mean.
So yeah, a better segue than shadows I will not find. So let's get back to Bellacore, gents.
You're up next. From the ashes to the fire.
Oh, am I? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I tried to force it and then I fucked it. Okay, yeah.
That's the Lorehammer way, though.
Okay.
And I'll give you this compliment. Even though English, I think, is like your third language, fourth language, or whatever the fuck, you read it better than I do. So hats off to you, sir.
I'll take it as a compliment.
But it's like a low bar. Like it's like not really like it's a low bar.
No, I gotta say, I don't really mean to be condescending or anything, but compared to the first episodes of Lorehammer, damn your reading, bro. I mean, you made strides.
Yeah, I went to a private school where I literally never had to read out loud ever. I just did all the work at my own pace just by reading in my head. So like to read out loud, it's a skill. It's a fucking skill. But I think I'm getting it.
It doesn't come natural to us humans. We tell stories. We are auditive and verbal people, beings. We don't read. That's just something we invented.
Yeah, and like most humans throughout history, they didn't know how to read. That's a very common type thing. But you know, I should be able to read a little better than I do.
You read so well. Thank you for the compliment, and I gave it right back. So yeah, from the ashes to the bloody fire, Bellacore, like a resentful firstborn, denied his birthright. Awesome. Seethes with jealousy towards those who win the favor of the Dark Gods. For millennia, he has relished in sabotaging the schemes of both mortal and demonic followers of chaos. Yet, what Bellacore sees as acts of rebellion and vengeance are, in truth, mere moves in the general great game of the Chaos Gods. When he strikes down a champion of Nurgle, he unwittingly furthers Tzeentch's designs. When he topples a blood-crazed servant of Khorne, he aids Slaanesh's aims. Though Bellacore hungers for power and delights in besting his rivals, he remains oblivious to the unbreakable bonds the Dark Gods weave around him. In recent times, it is whispered that Bellacore has cast his gaze upon a new favorite of chaos, Abaddon the Despoiler, Warmaster of the Dark Gods. Supposedly, Bellacore has shadowed Abaddon for centuries, subtly shaping events around him, sensing on him some deeper level that their fates are intertwined. Throughout each of Abaddon's Black Crusades, Bellacore has been a spectral presence influencing the tides of war from the shadows. What do we think of that, gents?
Okay, here's a hot take that I kind of just thought of. So we're talking about the warp being timeless. What if, and this is just crazy, what if Abaddon is Be'lakor? And he's just leading himself into becoming this favored champion of all the chaos gods. And like, since time fuckery is weird when we're dealing with the warp, it doesn't matter when Abaddon actually becomes Be'lakor, because once he becomes Be'lakor, Be'lakor instantly boom, goes across all of time. But then he has to lead himself into becoming Be'lakor. Dun dun dun.
That's crazy. Ooh.
Crazy indeed, and so easy to debunk. I'm sorry.
Ah!
Well, if you sprinkle a bit of war orc dust on it, it's like fairy dust in 40k, you know, might work. I mentioned earlier that it doesn't really matter when a chaos entity coalesces. It will then have happened, is happening, and will happen. However, we know that Be'lakor is the first to ascend to demonhood. And this implies a timeline. And I think that's the one thing you can use to poo-poo over this great idea that I really love. Yeah, that he is basically bringing himself into existence. That's the height of perversion. That's brilliant. I love it. Yeah. Aha.
All things are possible through either Jesus or the warp. Just bear
It's the
that in
same.
mind. It's the same. Oh man. All right, carry on. That was just a crazy thought I had. One day I hope to do that to myself, in fact, but
I love it. So, where have I been? Here. During the Third Black Crusade, it is said that Be'lakor manipulated Talamin, a demon prince, into joining Abaddon's assault on Cadia. During the Sixth, rumors suggested that Be'lakor whispered to Abaddon of Drekarth, the Sightless, treachery. Drekarth the Sightless's treachery, there we go, leading to the annihilation of the Sons of the Eye. These are not my notes, are they? Yes, they are. We've already talked about that. In both cases, his actions appear to have strengthened Abaddon's position, though darker motives lurk beneath. Talamin's devastation of Cadia came at a great cost to Abaddon's own Black Legion, while Drekarth could have only become a potent ally had Be'lakor not stoked Abaddon's wrath. Enshrouded in secrets, Be'lakor's true intent is veiled, and it remains unknown whether he serves the dark gods or works against them. Regardless, his machinations have undoubtedly contributed to Abaddon's ascension. As the end times approach, Be'lakor stands once more in Abaddon's shadow. When the War Master launched his 13th Black Crusade, Be'lakor joined him, weaving his influence deeper into Abaddon's inner circle, positioning himself as a herald of the ruinous powers. With hatred and jealousy as his fuel, Be'lakor surely plots a treachery to deny Abaddon victory and seize the triumph for himself. When and how this betrayal will unfold remains a mystery only to Be'lakor himself. And here a quote from our man Abaddon himself. Only a fool trusts a demon. They are made of the very stuff of change, the raw madness of the warp made manifest. However, like men, demons are creatures of greed, pride, and arrogance. And these are things I trust completely. Hell yeah.
nice, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, just like the warp, my notes sometimes repeat and rhyme and don't make sense, but that's what you get for trusting me.
You can cut it out, it's all right. So yeah, I love this Abaddon quote, by the way. This is so real. He has both his feet on the ground and is touching grass while saying that. You know? These are the things you can really rely on. It's the stupidity, arrogance, and jealousy of man, you know? people being petty. If you know a person is driven by their ego or highly affected by it, you can always count on shit like that. I would bet
Yeah.
money on that, you know? So yeah, I get Abaddon in this regard.
Yeah, it's crazy. I did some research on the Sons of the Eye before this, just because they had some little stuff in there. I also re-listened to your guys' episode about talking about that had Dracoth in it, and so Be'lakor kind of like deceived, I believe, Abaddon, because Dracoth was 100% loyal to Horus. Like even after his death, he's like, we need to reteach his ideologies. Abaddon was having none of that, but they could still kind of like work together, and that's where Be'lakor came in. He's just like, Abaddon, buddy, I just don't think Dracoth is really like a good guy. I think he's gonna like overthrow you and like reinstate Horus as like Umro #1. And so Abaddon and Dracoth, they did the Sixth Black Crusade together, and then after that, he lured Dracoth to a place called Dracoth's Folly. Crazy foreshadowing. And that's where he killed Dracoth.
Yeah, was that place named before or after the Folly? Hard to say. Once again, the warp and time fuckery. Hard to say.
I mean, in one of your past episodes, you said like it was named before, so I'm guessing before.
And everything I've said is completely true and can be trusted without question. We know this.
Yep.
Just like if you're talking to a chaos god himself.
It's like the Sixth Army of the Wehrmacht being in Stalingrad and realizing, hey, why does everybody rhyme Stalingrad with Massengrab, which is mass grave? I don't get it. Well, that came after you got all shot and frozen to death.
Its original name was Peaceful Place, later renamed Dracoth's Folly.
It's just like beforehand, it's like the meeting area, like Abaddon and the boys are just like signing like, or just like making a sign that says Dracoth's Folly. They're just like doing a gazebo and they just like put a sign that says, this is Dracoth's Folly. Or something.
Cool. So now we jump forward a little bit into, we've kind of learned a little bit about his origins, a little bit about kind of his involvement with, I don't want to say the Imperium, but Imperium opposite, like Abaddon and Chaos and stuff. And now we're going to jump into the era Indominus.
Yeah. Ever the cunning opportunist, Be'lakor has been seen fighting alongside the demon legions of each chaos god since the Great Rift tore open in CA 999 M41, ushering in the era Indominus. During his turbulent age, he has lent his aid to various renegade Space Marine chapters in Heretic Astartes warbands, even rejoining the infamous Abaddon the Despoiler and his Black Legion as always. As always, Be'lakor's true purpose remains shrouded in mystery, his motives buried in layers of shadowed schemes. Carcharodon Campaign. Amid the chaos of the Indominus Crusade, Be'lakor's attention turned toward the Carcharodon system, where he caught wind of the Nurglite Chaos Lord Typhus's invasion. Seeing an opportunity, Be'lakor descended upon Carcharodon with his own demonic and Chaos Space Marine force, the Disciples of Be'lakor. Allying with the zealous Word-Bearers Traitor Legion, he began his assault on the sector, launching an attack that would test the defenders of the system. With the bulk of House Raven's forces dispatched elsewhere, Be'lakor struck at their night world of Colossi. He manipulated loyal sacristans within the garrison, corrupting the throne's mechanicum of key knights. This betrayal weakened the House Raven garrison, and Be'lakor's forces soon overwhelmed the world. As Colossi fell, the Dark Master unleashed a sorcerer's feat that would haunt the system for ages. He transported the entire world through the warp, remarking it as his own.
Fucking tight.
Damn. In the shadowed realm of Imperium Nihilus, Colossi was reshaped into the dark world of Corvosi, a fallen night world twisted by Be'lakor's influence of House Korvax. a sinister infernal house loyal to the dark Mechanicum. Since the loss of their home, House Raven has sworn to fight on as a crusading house, pledging to destroy Be'lakor and reclaim the honor of their lost world. Woo! That was Typhus, Wordbearers, the Disciples of Be'lakor, House Raven, Corvosi, Words.
Yes.
We do touch more upon the Disciples and House Raven and all this stuff a little bit later on, but it is super cool kind of how they've updated some of this lore, including House Raven and taking Be'lakor and taking the knights and corrupting them that way. Such a cool fucking knight house, and I can imagine a tabletop army of just a bunch of knights being led by Be'lakor.
Yeah. In their opposite side, just another bunch of knights led by House Raven.
This whole whirlwind of actors, of malicious actors, most foul, is definitely the stage where Be'lakor has to be set on. That's where our boy goes to work. That we call it apocalypse. He calls it a Wednesday. You know, it's exactly his milieu, his métier, his landscape.
Yeah. Even amongst the towering Imperial Knights, he stands far more powerful than all of them. Even amongst that, like, very cool.
Just Pacific Rim, but with demons.
Perfect.
We've been talking about the mini. Have you checked on the cost for the mini? If you have an army, how much points Be'lakor is? Check it out. I think it's about 700-ish.
Whoa, so like...
Or 400-ish? I don't know.
Now, I did a quick search, and this is only from 2001, and it says 360 points, but I'll find more.
He kicks ass. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't lose him turn 1 to the tower railgun, I'm just saying.
Yeah, just please do not. That would be detrimental, at least. Yeah. But yeah, Be'lakor is a beefy boy. And he definitely, this description in the lore makes total sense to me. Gotta be honest. Yeah. And the mini is bloody huge. If you don't have line on sight on Be'lakor, the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, his wings alone give you...
Yeah.
Let's talk about his appearance and what he looks like for those of you who don't have access to the internet to Google a picture for yourself like a bunch of plebes. Be'lakor, the first demon prince, is an embodiment of terror and otherworldly might. His form is a twisted amalgamation of shadow and raw power, a creature whose very presence distorts reality itself. His skin, where it can be seen, is a deep, inky black, as though the darkness of the warp itself clings to him. His body is unnaturally elongated, his frame a grotesque parody of the mortal form he once possessed. Muscles ripple beneath the surface like coiled serpents, yet they are more akin to the spiny, unnatural sinew of a demon than the flesh of any man. His arms are long and jagged, ending in clawed hands that could rend the very fabric of existence with a single swipe. His wings are the most striking feature of this cursed form, vast membranous structures of blackened, tattered flesh, stretching out like the wings of a fallen angel or a dark, unfurling petals of a corrupt flower. These wings, far larger than any mortal's imagination could fathom, are adorned with veins of pulsating dark energy, and they seem to shimmer with an otherworldly, sickly glow, as though they were forged in the deepest recesses of the immaterium itself. They carry the weight of millennia, their sheer size making him seem both immense and otherworldly, hovering above his enemies with terrifying grace. His face, when visible, beneath the twisted shadows that perpetually swirl around him, is a mask of sheer malevolence. His features are gaunt, almost skeletal, with a deep, jagged mouth filled with fangs that seem far too large for his skull. His eyes glow with infernal fiery light, burn with an unrelenting hatred and ambition. They are the eyes of a being who has long since shed any semblance of humanity. consumed by the dark power and ancient grudges. His face is often shrouded by a cowl of shadow and an aura of mist, leaving only glimpses of his bestial nature within. When reading codexes and stuff, oftentimes they make reference to like his humanity that he lost or his human form. And this, it might just be the way they describe it. Like it just is a familiar way to describe it. And what do you call Xenos humanity? Like Eldar humanity? I'm sure they have a word for it, but
we do not have a term for it. So either it is still unclear, or I was wrong in giving you shit earlier about the theory that Be'lakor was a human once.
yeah, and it could honestly go either way. Like he could be something else, like an unknown Xenos species, but we don't have that word, so we relate it as he lost his humanity or his mortal draw or whatever, you know. Humanity is just an easy way to say it. But as I read about it in codexes, he really does seem like he did stem from a human, but hearsay.
I just went through all the languages I've learned and was looking for a equivalent of the term we are looking for. And of course, German would be my first go because we describe everything to absolute precision and therefore have 1,000 terms for everything. We cannot describe what we are looking for. We would also say Menschlichkeit, humanity, which means the ability to relate to each other as finite and vulnerable beings with empathy. I think that is the best definition. And in Latin, it would be humanitas. So fuck it, yeah, that's English for you.
Yeah.
Oh
but
God,
going
English.
by those definitions, that would work with an Eldar. Like we wouldn't be able to relate with them. Like we can relate with an Eldar with like compassion and empathy. There is some relatableness there. We both exist within the bounds of. So once again, it's hard to say where the fuck this guy really did come from. Words are fun that way.
Yeah. So we lack the language to sort out hell and aliens. That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. In his demonic form, Be'lakor is an ever-present reminder of the cost of ambition and betrayal. His very appearance strikes fear into those who face him, as it reflects both his immense power and the curse of his existence. A being doomed to forever serve the Chaos Gods, never fully attaining the godhood he so desperately seeks. He is a creature forged from darkness, embodying the vast, unknowable terror of the warp itself.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby. Yeah, we mentioned the wings, and like that's such a defining feature of them. Just they're huge, unfathomably big. Like you can just imagine them unfurling, and it's like, whoa. And as more they unfurl, it just is like, yikes.
And there's more and more and more. It's like Billy Mays.
It's like that one anime sword that just keeps on going and going and going and going and just goes forever.
But wait, there's more. Even more Be'lakor. Ooh, yeah, baby. No, for real. I mean, and what I really love is, I don't know, it looks like it just is designed to evoke some torture chambery kind of associations or slaughterhouse associations within us mortal humans, but the chains with the hooks on his wings, I am sure there is some lore that explains that and makes reason of that, but the aesthetic alone evokes something in me. And
I got some lore that explains that, actually.
Oh, really? Because my headcanon is he had to appease Slaanesh at some point, so he had to be a hooker, hence the hooks.
Yeah, his wings aren't the only part that he's pierced.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's the only response you can say to that.
Let's go, yeah.
Yeah, this could be more delved into the Tales of the Warp. But for the longest time, I saw Be'lakor and drew correlations to Sanguinius.
Like a dark version.
Like all like the skulls and like a fallen angel, as it says.
Yeah.
But yeah, was he ever up there to fall so deep? To me, Be'lakor had to be some wretched dude that was just that saw his humanity, or not his humanity, but his mortality as a hindrance to get the job done he wants to get done.
Yeah. I don't care. I'm going to spread the word that I think Abaddon is actually Be'lakor.
I like it.
I'm going to start spreading that word and see if it sticks, and maybe GW will copy another thing I say.
Mark, I will work tirelessly on debunking my debunking of your theory. All right?
Good man. Good man.
As soon as I find a way, I'll let you know.
Yes, sir. All right. Up next, we have his war gear.
Yes, the war gear of Be'lakor. So we already had a teensy little look at his sword, which is special. But let's start with the sword itself. The Blade of Shadows. Be'lakor commands a singular Ether Blade, a spectral weapon caught perpetually between solidity and shadow form, and phantasm. With his mastery, this blade shifts instantly from formless darkness to a razor-edged scythe, cleaving through armor, hide, and flesh, and bone as though they were air. Each strike carries the blade's deadly essence, responding to Be'lakor's will alone, and giving him an unparalleled edge in battle. I see the little pun there. All right.
I will kind of correct something I said earlier, just about like him potentially having a demon weapon that's whispering to him. Like this seems like this is like a manifestation of his might more so.
I would agree. Yeah.
An extension of his own being in another form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes total sense to me. So, Malefic Talons. Yeah. This reads a bit like a data sheet. I love it. Malefic Talons. Be'lakor's hands are twisted with dark power, ending in talons that seethe with malevolent energy. These claws can tear through mortal and immortal alike, making his strike as deadly as they are relentless. Crown of the Black Sun. Oh, there we go. Crown of the Black Sun. This ancient artifact amplifies his psychic powers, granting him dominion over shadow and deception. The crown allows him to cloak himself in darkness, hide his true form, and even bend the minds of those around him to his will. It is also a symbol of his rank as the first demon prince, a relic of his previous exaltation. Precious as well, I reckon. That serves both as a reminder of his past betrayal and a tool for asserting his dominance over other chaos entities. I was not aware of the Crown of the Black Sun. This is amazing.
Ooh. Yeah, we just go from like Crown of the Black Sun, Blade of Shadows, and Malefic Talons. They're pretty malefic, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's still a pretty cool name for his hands.
Yeah, boy got a sword. You don't want to catch these hands, and he's wearing a crown. He is basically a drag queen out for war.
Yes, that's exactly how I'm sure he would want you to describe him.
He wouldn't fucking care because our annotations and values do not apply to fucking Be'lakor. I mean, he's
we don't even know his real name.
Yeah, exactly. He's 1/4 Slanesh. He would look at me and go, "What is you? Even come on."
What are you? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the sword. You already clarified it, Mark. This is basically Be'lakor deciding to be a sword as an extension on his hand, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's nothing special to it. Just being fucking aggro.
Another cool part about him is he like doesn't have any armor on him. You know, he doesn't need such things. Like he's beyond such thing. Yeah, where like you can look at other demon primarchs and stuff, or demon princes, and you know they still might have armor from being an Astartes or whatever, but that he is just pure warp energy incarnate.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He's just an angsty teen. He's just a 14-year-old angsty teen. He's got the magic. He's got the Blade of Shadows.
Once again, I'm sure that's how he would want you to describe him, either as some type of...
But then, my young friend that I just met tonight, wouldn't he wear a fuck ton of armor?
Nah.
Yeah, right. But the older you get, the less stuff you need to put in front of you. You need. So, you know, like edgy internet humor. Oh, I'm so edgy. I'm good.
I'm going to say the N-word.
Yeah,
kind of edgy.
there's the N-word. Deal with that, liberals. And everybody, liberal or not, will go, yeah, all right. Awesome. I think I know everything about you I need to know right now. So yeah, less armor means more chat. In my opinion. Yeah.
More chat.
I agree. Yeah.
It's just brain rot internet humor or something.
We don't know. Do we have notes on Bellacor's sense of humor? I like the idea, Jax. Let's found a research group.
I'm sure he's a funny guy.
He's just like, look, he's got like the craziest dad humor.
He's just cracking puns to Abaddon.
he just arrives on an Imperial world and everybody goes, oh no, we are doomed. Hello, doomed. I'm Be'lakor.
Get off my planet, Be'lakor. You're not welcome here.
He's just like on a beach. Is like he's fighting on like a beach, and like he's like, oh, he's like turns to Abaddon. It's like, oh, this surely will be in our advantage.
Oh, is this Pun City? Am I right here?
Oh God.
Woo, Be'lakor.
He's just choking out like Drakok, the sons of the eye guy, and he's like, be sure not to choke on your aspirations.
Oh yeah, I love it. Okay. I now realize why you invited the joke guy, Mark. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, it works with Be'lakor apparently, since he is the demon prince of dad jokes. I mean, he's the Dark Bachelor and the demon prince of social media and
the
dad
Dark
jokes.
Bachelor. I'll never get over that one. Oh my God. Dark Bachelor.
Oh, but this bloody crown can please somebody in this podcast or somebody who can comment explain to me what the crown of the Black Sun actually does. I know I read the text.
The crown allows him to cloak himself in darkness, just like stealth.
But that's what he do. Oh, that what he do because of the crown.
Yeah, is he the sword or is the sword he? It's hard to say. Same with the crown. Is it a manifestation? I don't know.
There we go.
I like to imagine him as a just trying to be sneaky, just like a night battle's going on around him. He's just like
on my next drug infueled rampage, when I see a kid at Burger King's with a crown because it's his birthday, I'm gonna use I'm gonna attack him with a bloody mop handle and knock it off and say, Be'lakor, you ain't hiding in the shadows no more. I got you figured. Yeah, there we go. And then tell me your real name, bastard.
Man, you live in a weird country if you can get away with stuff like that. But
yeah. Well, Switzerland is way more civilized. I am from a deeply troubled bigger city in Germany. So, yeah. We do not distinguish between the night and the day.
Jump into the psychic powers.
Anyway. I gotta psych myself up for this part after that whole conversation. Be'lakor is a powerful psyker and manipulator of the warp, capable of wielding sorceries that affect the battlefield in terrifying ways. His most notable powers revolve around manipulation, shadows, and fear. One of his most devastating abilities is the Master of Shadows, which allows Be'lakor to command the darkness itself. He can shroud the battlefield in inky blackness, making it difficult for enemies to see or act. This power can disorient and confuse his foes, rendering them vulnerable to ambushes or surprise attacks. The shadows he controls can also become physical, forming tendrils or claws that lash out to tear at his enemies, or even engulf them entirely, trapping them into the endless void. Be'lakor's sorcery extends beyond just the physical realm. He's a master of warp manipulation and can summon demonic legions or warp the minds of his enemies. His powers allow him to summon powerful demons, warp reality to his will, or tear at the very fabric of the universe asunder. He can also induce crippling fear or manipulate time and space, creating chaotic ripples that destabilize his foes' very perception of the world around them. Finally, as a demon prince of chaos, Be'lakor is constantly empowered by the warp. His very presence warps reality, allowing him to regenerate from mortal wounds at an alarming rate and become nearly invulnerable to mundane attacks. His connection to the warp grants him his near immortality, as he exists in a state beyond death, forever bound to the forces of chaos. These powers and artifacts make Be'lakor one of the most dangerous and cunning figures in the Chaos Pantheon. His war gear and mastery of the dark arts are a reflection of his desire for power, his deep-seated hatred for all the Chaos gods, and his ultimate ambition to one day rule over them all. One ring to rule over them all, one might say.
That's a lot of very relevant information for understanding Be'lakor.
He really is just an angsty teen. Like,
I'm gonna attack you at shadow.
he hates everyone.
I'm starting to get your point, Jax. I really do. So I really am, rather. So yeah. His ultimate goal is not just independence. It's getting rid of his 4 parents. Oh my god, he is a modern child, isn't he?
That's nice. Well, let's jump to some of the people that follow him. We'll start with the disciples of Be'lakor. The disciples of Be'lakor, a name that instills dread, comprises a dark coalition of chaos. Demons drawn from the infernal legions of every chaos god, chaos space marines whose hearts pulse with corruption, treacherous regiments of the traitorous militarum, and the twisted chaos knights of House Korvax. At their helm stands Be'lakor, the first demon prince, the ancient and malevolent Dark Master. In the blood-soaked Carcharodon campaign of the Era Indomitus, the disciples of Be'lakor clash with Imperial forces on the forge world of Metallica, spreading ruin across its defenses and wrenched the former night world of Colossi from House Raven's grasp. Though a blasphemous ritual, Be'lakor seized control of Colossi, wrenching it through the warp to a cursed new position in the Imperial Nihilus. The now reborn Korvasai, this demon-infested realm and fallen night world, has become the shadow dominion of Be'lakor and his legion of disciples, where the power of chaos festers, unrestrained and absolute. Colossi descent into damnation began amidst the Carcharodon campaign of Era Indomitus. Though the dark sorcery and guile of Be'lakor the Demon Prince, an archetype of corruption, ensnared sacrosands from House Raven, twisted their loyalties and their craft. In secret, these traitorous sacrosands defiled the throne mechanicus of the knights they served, embedding the raw power of chaos within. With this corruption, seated Be'lakor unleashed the full fury of the demonic legions and heretic Astartes warbands, the disciples of Be'lakor, upon Colossi. House Raven's defenders, led by Knight Senshal Havlorn, scrambled to protect their world, yet most of their knights already deployed across the Caradon sector under the command of Precepts Gravan. Those few left on Colossi were hopelessly outmatched. As Havlorn and his remaining warriors fortified the keep inviolate, these population of Korvasai sought refuge within its walls. But even as these loyal nobles prepared their final stand, treachery struck. The throne mechanicus, twisted by sacrilegious rites, transformed loyal nobles into twisted chaos knights, mindless instruments of Be'lakor's will. Under his command, they turned their weapons on their former allies, and Havlorn himself fell to the foul betrayal. In swift succession, House Raven's loyal defenders were extinguished, and the remnants of House Raven were driven off-world, leaving Colossi to the mercy of chaos. A distressed call came, launched in the battle's final hours, reached the battle group Tarsus in the Indomitus Crusades Fleet Primus. As their vanguard approached Colossi, they encountered a nightmare, demonic and treacherous forces already laying waste to what had once been the bastion of House Raven. The Vanguard dispatched an Adeptus Sororitas strike force to the planet's surface, but they too fell before Be'lakor's corrupt knights. Knowing that the full force of the battle group Tarsus would soon arrive, Be'lakor enacted a sorcerous ritual, wrenching Colossi from real space and casting it deep into the Imperial Nihilus. In this darkened realm, he reshaped Colossi into Corvosi, a demon world where shadows reign and the knights of House Corvax serve him as twisted paragons of ruin. Now the corrupted Chaos Knights of House Corvax, monstrous and perverse, form the iron core of Be'lakor's legions, alongside demons, heretic Astartes, and traitorous Militarum. They defend the Dark Master's dominion, bringing terror and death to all those who trespass in his shadow empire. Yeah, super cool story just of him taking this planet, fucking over an entire night house. Even one thing I liked about night houses is they're almost incorruptible. Something about their throne mechanics and like the generations of pilots before them helps keep them loyal. But even that was no match for the corrupting force of Be'lakor.
I mean, night houses do fall to corruption, but you rightly mentioned that they are not as susceptible as some Astra Militarum regiment in buttfuck nowhere Tempestus sector. So they have their honor, their conviction, and all above their tradition. But let's not talk nice because this will not end.
Yeah.
This is some space opera shit we've been witnessing in this text, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, just a battle between good and evil, a battle of where your closest brother or even your father has now turned and you have to fight him. And, since it's 40K, the bad side wins and there's no hope. And they send reinforcements there. They send Sisters of Battle, and they get messed up. And it doesn't matter who they send, they all get messed up. Eventually, the planet gets sucked into the warp and now it's under his control. But like reading the Disciples of Be'lakor, man, like I just keep picturing this super thematic army for him. And part of what I love doing when you're talking about characters of 40K is like, yeah, how does this actually translate onto tabletop? And yeah, we know he has a bunch of knights and he might have some guardsmen and he might have the odd heretic Astartes, but his prime forces are, these knights that he has captured.
This is basically the brunt of his force. The first ring around Be'lakor. I was not aware of that.
I can just imagine these knights, they would probably take on aspects of Be'lakor, and by aspects I mean like the shadowy nature. So I could almost picture these knights almost like flickering in and out of the warp, like when they move. That's kind of how they move. They do these like flash shadow flickers, or you're shooting at the knights and it's just like poofs of smoke as the bullets pass through them because they're protected by Be'lakor's shadow.
Yeah, I love it.
Fucking cool.
Yeah. I just feel reminded. The first community event we did with our German 40K podcast. We of course had some 40K tabletop matches, and my dev core was steamrolled by one of our most amazing community members, Rob. Rob is actually teaching people 40K via Tabletop Simulator on our Discord.
Cool.
So he's a staple, and he brought his fucking Chaos Knights to whoop my ass. And he's really great at bringing some dynamic to his models. So he's actually breaking their joints to rearrange them and giving them a sprint animation and whatnot. It's just amazing.
Yeah, you feel less bad when you lose to a beautiful army. You're like, yeah, I fucking lost,
Isn't
but
it?
At least you look good doing it,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, Rob, you're the man.
Yeah, hey, Rob, if you're listening to this, come join the Lorehammer Discord. Like I said earlier in the show, I think there's rumors of us doing some Tabletop Simulator campaign if you want to get involved and help us run that. I've played on Tabletop Simulator once or twice, but I'm not the guy to teach people it. I haven't played 10th edition even, so if he wants a little extra, you know.
Yeah, Rob, join the Lorehammer thingy and have more work.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
that's a good
Just for a
pitch. Yeah.
season, just for one tournament, then go back to the wherever you crawled out of. Yeah, so that's kind of all of the episode about Be'lakor that is like official kind of canon. Now we're gonna jump to the Tales of the Warp section, and in this kind of segment, it's way more free flow, and we're going to talk about Be'lakor and kind of the similarities that he has in Warhammer 40k and Warhammer Fantasy. He's one of these crossover characters where he can play actually in both settings. So we're gonna kind of go through what he's like in both.
Yeah, that's like 80% of chaos,
Sure.
to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a cool thing. That's what I really love about the thing between 40k and Warhammer Fantasy, because we don't talk about Age of Sigmar a lot. Yeah. The fact that chaos can work and mostly will work the same in both settings.
Yeah.
I really love. A great unclean one will be a great unclean one. Creatures from the warp will bring weapons like axes and swords or jarred sword-like objects and whatnot, spears.
They really tried to make it so there was no like guns, you know, there is no technology. So all the models really do transfer over.
If it is something that has the technicality of a gun, or the, let's say the functionality of a gun,
yeah, like the skull
Yeah.
cannon, where you know the bloodletters they ride on this like cannon that
Works
shoots
about-
skulls out, but it's not like they're shooting bullets. It's not like it's powered by gunpowder. Yeah, very cool.
Jax, do you do Warhammer Fantasy?
I actually do have a bunch of Skaven and what are they called? The Stormcast Eternals,
Yeah.
the rip-off Space Marines. But yeah, demons are just the easiest for both settings. Like you take them out from 40k, play in Age of Sigmar, same thing. But yeah, the main thing about it, I did have a conspiracy theory. If you guys want to hear it about Age of Sigmar and 40k, how they're possibly in the same thing.
I'm just thinking, is it right now or after we do the Be'lakor segment?
It's the Tales of the Warp, and you are trying to force a timeline upon
Oh
us?
shit, you're right. Lay it on me, Jax. My bad. I come from Germany. My parents do, and my grandparents. So maybe that's still a little bit of that structure and organization lingers in me deep down inside with my blonde hair, blue eyes.
I generally agree with you.
All good.
Lay it on us, Jax.
But yeah, basically my conspiracy theory, my whole like billboard like pins everywhere. Age of Sigmar and 40k take place in the same like dimension,
Boo.
but not the same
I boo you,
universe per
sir.
se. Okay, hear me out. So we know 40k is based off of human history, like for Terra. I could touch upon this later, who I think Be'lakor is actually, but it takes place for our like canonically right now. The God Emperor is walking amongst us. Be'lakor is born at the start of humankind in the Bible. He's a biblical character, and he lives his life. Through his first act, he's nominated a Chaos Prince, and then he lives the rest of his human life.
Are you talking about like Cain?
By the way, Mark, they didn't teach you that in your little cult school, did
No, they didn't teach me that Cain and Abel, Cain actually, the mark that he got was a mark of chaos and he became Be'lakor. No, they must have missed that part.
No, but the fact that Be'lakor is demonology in the Bible and in the Talmud, the Hebrew tradition. By the way, I'm a huge sucker for occultism. So write me a DM if you want to know shit about demons.
Write him a DM if you want to try summoning a demon.
Yep. Great loyalist in 40k, massive occultist in real life. So yeah, Be'lakor is actually a Bible character.
Yeah, but yeah, as I was saying, yeah, he's Cain. He kills Abel, that marks him for chaos. He lives out the rest of his life. Then the Chaos Gods throw him into Age of Sigmar for a while for the Horus Heresy. Age of Sigmar has its own things, but one of the main things, I can't for the life of me find the source, but when Teclis and Tyrion were getting, when they were getting souls from Slaanesh after the old world fell, they remarked that some of these souls were a little alien, that some of them like were a little weird. They weren't like high elves. They were not Druki either. They were kind of Eldar, just saying. So yeah, that's the main correlation. But Be'lakor, for the time of the Horus Heresy, he's fighting in the old world. He's trying to like do the Dark Gods' bidding there. And the Dark Gods, they have like many like they're unfathomable. So they're invading multiple universes and realities at the same time. So they're invading Age of Sigmar and 40k. They realize Age of Sigmar they're losing, so they throw Be'lakor into there for the Horus Heresy. And then after the old world fell, they throw him back into 40k, and that's where he disappears for a long time in Age of Sigmar. And he's doing stuff in 40k. And every time he disappears and reappears, that's because he's like switching between the two settings.
He's not just juggling his balls in the warp while not being busy in the 40k universe. He's actually doing shit in AOS.
Yeah, he's.
I can make my peace
Exactly,
with
yeah.
this headcanon because I do not speak with any authority about AOS at all because this is it's just bonkers, you know.
Yeah, this is purely my headcanon.
Yeah.
It's been.
But what the fuck do they know? They also came out with Primaris Marine, so can we really trust what GW writes?
Oh, if you spoke German, you would love our Primaris episode. Mark, this is your main motivation.
I will
to
learn German just to listen to it.
Yeah, because we've been shitting all over them. Really.
Good.
Oh my god.
The tradition lives on. Yeah, I it is interesting. It's like you can talk about the multiverse and like there's kind of two planes. You got your sideways plane, which is multiverse, and then you got your up and down plane, which is dimensions. So it's like if somebody figures out how to go sideways on these planes, you get into alternate realities, alternate timelines or whatever. And yeah, and one of them, if you go farther enough away, eventually, yeah, you reach into AOS from 40k. Yeah, you could make that kind of situation, but then we might as well just go watch Marvel Cinematic Universe and realize nothing's important, you know?
Yeah, and there are certain parts that make clear to us that and I'm not talking about AOS right now, but Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k is not the same. It is not the same universe. That is a theory I have been fucking around with when I learned about Warhammer. And really early on, no, Sigma is not one of the Lost Primarchs. Yeah, sounds great, but that doesn't really work. So, but AOS, well, go ahead, buddy. I'm not stopping you. I don't know shit about AOS.
Yeah, AOS is different, like very different, because they operate not on like a single planet, but in like different realms and different planes of existence. So yeah, that could almost slot in somehow, but I like it. It's kind of like a cake.
Layers.
All right. Well, if you said that in any point of the episode that wasn't the Tales of the Warp, I would have been very angry. But since it was in this section, my anger is not there for you.
It is like an ogre or an onion, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Age of Sigmar is like a cake on the ocean. That is
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. All right. So, Tales of the Warp, gents.
Yeah.
Strap up. Be'lakor, the first demon prince, is one of the most powerful and enigmatic figures in both the Warhammer 40k and Warhammer Fantasy, in brackets Age of Sigmar, I would love to delete that, universes. Though his portrayal in each setting reveals significant similarities and contrasts that shape his role in each respective world. And there we freaking go. Similarities. core identity as the first demon prince. This is the one thing that makes Be'lakor to a certain point. In both settings, Be'lakor holds the title of the first demon prince and being of immense power, who was once immortal, elevated to demonhood by the Chaos Gods. His betrayal by those gods is a key element of his character in both universes. His ambition, pride, and desire for power lead him to challenge the Chaos Gods, and his fall from their favor mirrors a core part of his identity across both settings. So that is the same. As well as the betrayal by the Chaos Gods. So Be'lakor's fall from grace is central to his narrative. In both Warhammer 40k and fantasy, he is a former favorite of the Chaos Gods, elevated to demonhood by them, only to later be cast aside. In fantasy, he seeks to claim dominion over all chaos and has a deep animosity towards the gods who betrayed him. Similarly, in 40k, he is scorned by the Chaos Gods for his hubris and ambition, never fully embraced by them, though he continues to serve as their tool. This betrayal fuels his hatred and quest for power, setting him against even the very beings who gave him life. Bloody love that. Thematic role as the champion of chaos. So in both settings, Be'lakor stands as a powerful representative of chaos, leading his forces, or the forces of chaos rather, whether they are demons, chaos, space marines, or other warp minions. He is a commander and a manipulator and dark force that bends others to his will, continuing to command vast legions of demons and twisted beings to do his bidding. Samesies. Role as a strategic mastermind, Be'lakor is often depicted as a master tactician, able to manipulate others and plan far ahead, whether in the context of war in fantasy or in the political intrigues of the 40k universe. His schemes are often long-term, as he waits for the right moment to strike, using both direct force and subtle influence to achieve his goals. This intelligence is a key characteristic that is consistent across both settings. So this is Be'lakor, be it 40k or fantasy. This you can count on.
Yeah, it's clear that there are a lot of those or similarities that are just core parts of who he is, and you can't change it for sure. Yeah, it's not like he's going to be a master stratagem in 40k, and then in AOS he's a mindless berserker. You know, that just wouldn't line up.
Just a buffoon going, Daemon, Confetti!
Confetti! Holy fuck.
Yeah, I like how it says political intrigues of the 40k universe. I could totally imagine Be'lakor just being like,
well, yeah,
vote me
like
for president.
He has manipulated many different empires throughout his time, and it's not always that he's conquered them. There's a lot of that manipulation going on, or like setting himself up to be worshipped or whatever. It's not just through sheer might and willpower that he gets these planets to worship him and follow him. So
yeah, and if you think those like planets are really dumb, just for like, oh, why would we worship this immortal god being who's kind of evil? Humanity is worshiping
fuck,
God
even real
right
life on our world, people worship all types of stupid shit. You tell me you worship a god that killed his own son? What the fuck are you up to over there? Yeah. That's not very good. I don't understand the lore. Though, so. My bad. I'll read up on some lore of the real world.
As a German teacher for immigrants, I have all the compassion and all the sympathy for the migrants that come to Switzerland to learn German. And I have many a Muslim friend of both genders. And still, I read the Quran twice. Not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I kind of don't like the whole you can marry young children aspect of it. Kind of don't like that.
Yeah, kind of, or like stone your daughter to death because she got raped.
I'll kind of rile against such things. So, but people worship all types of weird and evil things, especially if they just don't know any better, or through fear or whatever.
the cool thing is 80% of the people I teach and are of this tradition say, yeah, that's why I'm here, buddy.
Sure.
That's not what I want.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing
Hashtag not
is,
all Muslims, I guess, is the outcome of that statement.
well, yeah, hashtag not all everything and in general, and what are we gonna do about it anyway? But still, we live in reality, so
Yeah. Let's jump to the differences of Be'lakor and the settings.
All right. Origin and connection to the worlds. In Warhammer Fantasy, Be'lakor's origins are steeped in the world that would become the Warhammer Fantasy setting. He was once a mighty mortal warlord, a king who made pacts with the Chaos Gods for power, only to be betrayed by them when they sought to elevate others in his place. His fall marks the beginning of his path to a demon prince. In Warhammer 40k, Be'lakor's origins are far more enigmatic. He is a figure from the distant past, his history shrouded in mystery. It is implied that he existed in the earliest times of the Imperium, and his role as a manipulator of chaos in the 40k universe is tied more to the cosmic struggles of the galaxy, with his goals often revolving around gaining dominion over chaos itself or exploiting its power to further his own agenda. His presence in the 40k universe is more tied to the warp and the endless conflict that pervades the galaxy rather than a specific lost mortal kingdom. And finally, we have, he is Abaddon. Or Arcane, yeah.
Oh shit. All right, yeah. But I started my Be'lakor journey in the Warhammer Fantasy setting. Not because I started with fantasy, not at all. I mean, I started with Warhammer and 40k. But when I was researching Be'lakor, I started with fantasy. And sometimes, gotta say, lads, sometimes the fantasy lore got some extra spice to it.
Yeah, man.
You know? Yeah, just a little bit of paprika, a little bit of what we in Germany elegantly call Muskatnuss.
Muskatnuss. Yeah.
Just
yeah.
yeah. So
yeah,
and there,
I am hyped for Warhammer Fantasy to come back. People have been asking me to do, like, when it does come back, to start a Warhammer Fantasy pod. And I'm like, well, I won't start a new one, but maybe Warhammer needs to expand into fantasy. You won't get me to ever fucking touch or even talk about AOS, but fantasy, man, like you said, there's so much, there's just that special little thing that lots of fantasy universes lack. And spicy, man.
Two birds of one feather. Come on, you Canadian goose, and embrace the German eagle. It's the exact same thing I was saying for months, and my girlfriend started a fantasy section on our podcast just recently.
Fuck yeah.
You can listen to the second episode soon. It's about the orcs, of course, because it was Orcvember, as we all know. So yeah, there we go. But yeah, you said it's in 40k Be'lakor was even more mysterious. It was so hard for me to get any information on his origins on fantasy.
They're both mysterious, I guess.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're one and the same in 40k and Age of Sigmar. Or fantasy.
I just feel like with
one might say.
fantasy, I feel like we know for sure he was a human. Where with 40k, we think he might have been a human, but I feel like it opens up a lot more. But maybe I'm wrong.
In fantasy, it says he was a primal mortal.
So that could be anything.
So
then. We go.
Yeah. Okay. I reckon some fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger-esque cunt from one of the bloody Norscan tribes, you know.
Yeah.
Just being, I need more in my life, you know. I'm not satisfied. I killed and tortured my enemies, you know. I've seen them driven before me, heard the lamentation of their women, and what is left? Come on, there is a bloody mammoth I can ride. That's it. Nah.
Nah.
And
My life expectancy is 30 years. I need to do more.
let's go. And then he met the Chaos Gods and shit just unraveled,
Yeah.
Popping iron.
Yeah. I was going to say real quick before we jump to the next little point of appearance and manifestation, or role and ambition, I mean, sorry. If somebody is like a hardcore Warhammer fantasy guy and you want to take on the project of becoming like a second chair for when I do start doing fantasy, the reason why I've never touched it is because while I'm loosely familiar, I don't know it all. So like with Warhammer, I've had 30 years of knowledge I can draw, and I can organize the universe perfectly and logically and make it kind of all fit together, where I lack that kind of knowledge with fantasy of like, yeah, I guess you start at the beginning, but how does everything actually, how do all the gears actually connect, So if you're like deeply heavy into fantasy and you're interested in starting something up with me, shoot me a message and maybe we'll see if we click, we bond, we vibe. And yeah.
One warning about fantasy is don't read any of the end time books after getting invested.
Yeah, it's like the last seasons of Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of one-upmanship.
I think that sums it up.
Yeah.
But worse somehow.
But anyways, we can jump to the next little difference.
Yeah.
All right. Role and ambitions. In Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar, Be'lakor's ambitions are primarily focused on supplanting the Chaos Gods and claiming their throne. He seeks ultimate power, intending to become the true ruler of Chaos, and has often worked to manipulate the other Chaos factions to bring about his ascension. His relationship with the Chaos Gods is antagonistic at best, and he constantly challenges their authority while seeking to control their demonic legions. In Warhammer 40k, Be'lakor is more focused on manipulating events within the Grimdark universe to his advantage. His goals are less about dethroning the Chaos Gods directly and more about finding ways to exploit chaos for his own purposes, often in subtle, long-term ways. His role in 40k is more about being a force of disruption and subversion, particularly in his relations with the Chaos Space Marines and his endless desire for influence over the forces of the warp.
Okay. Yeah, this is where I wish I knew more about fantasy so I could contribute more to this, but I just don't know much.
You're missing out, man. Really.
Like I said, I'm open to it. I'm definitely open to the idea of coming on board and holding my hand and we going through fantasy together. Just like I did with Jordan, just like I did with some people. I need that guy to do that with me. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. Anyway, I was about to say the Chaos Gods and claiming their throne. I like to think like each Chaos God has a throne. So if he ever like beats the Chaos God, he just like takes their throne. And when he beats all the Chaos Gods, he just puts all the thrones on top of each other and just sits down on it.
Isn't that like the mean blue guy that collects all the weird stones on his fucking anime
Thanos
fan article? I haven't seen the Marvel stuff, but I see the memes.
First of all, he's purple.
I'm sorry.
I can't read, but at least I know what colors are.
Good for you, Mark.
I'll pat myself right on the back there.
We all need stuff to do well and be proud of. Yes,
Mama loves me.
This is a tribal experience. We all affirm each other. Yes. Good. Yes. Men resort.
Later, we can braid each other's beard to further bond.
Was afraid you'd never ask.
I'm feeling left out.
Oh fuck!
But yeah, I do believe the differences are minuscule.
Yeah, really. I think we'll skip some of these. Yeah, I think we'll skip some of them and jump down to connection to Chaos Knights and just kind of how technology works with them. Because yeah, influence and followers, yeah, they still use the same stuff. It's like instead of using Chaos Space Marines, he uses barbarians or whatever. The other interesting thought here that I'll throw past, because we're jumping past appearance and manifestation, but like they're described the same way. But what if for fantasy you use the old school Be'lakor model, and for 40k you use the new one? Would that be a concept? Because I know like fantasy has like a different scale to it than 40k. So then to throw the AOS 40k guy, it might be just overwhelmingly big compared to the rest of the model range of fantasy. What are your thoughts on that?
Is that true, Jax?
Yeah, I think so. But the main thing I see is that GW has released the old world models, which was like the setting that was before Age of Sigmar. They started releasing stuff for that. So when they release Chaos Demons, I'm expecting them to release old Be'lakor, just because like it's an old model. Like if you look up some of the old world models, it's like they're super old. They're like 90s models. They're super kind of like
but
jagged, I'd say.
Jax, please explain this to me, because I do not play Warhammer Fantasy or AOS. They are both 28mm scale models, aren't they?
Yeah, so maybe I worded it weird. They are the same scale, but let's put it this way. 20 years ago in 40k, if you put a dreadnought on the table, that was the centerpiece model. Where now that's just like, well, you could put down fucking 15 dreadnoughts and no one's going to bat an eye.
Let me guess. The size creep is different in 40k models than it is in Warhammer Fantasy. Is that what are we hinting?
Yeah.
to?
So while it's the same scale, it's just the actual like how big the model is it's very different. Because like the old Be'lakor model is probably a quarter of the size, which is more in line with like what the old fantasy stuff would kind of be like, where it would still be this massive centerpiece model, even though it's a quarter of the size. But you toss down Be'lakor, the new one, it would just be like, whoa, where did this guy come from all of a sudden?
Yeah, that's my ball belly. Yeah.
Very lore accurate though, just to have like a shadow monster just appear right behind you.
I mean, he becomes part of the terrain. Yeah. To be honest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you. I'm just gonna turn around this corner real quick. Be'lakor, I can see every fucking skull chain and hook on your wings. Don't even try.
Like, dude, I know you're the master of shadows, but I can see you.
Fuck, you nailed it.
Oh, man.
I knew at some point Mark would crack me up for real. That was the moment.
Oh, man.
If you can see me, why don't you just shoot me? Bam! Ow!
It would be cool to try to paint Be'lakor with like what do they call that blackest black paint? Is it Vanta black? No. Like
it is Abaddon
black.
No, not in the GW range.
Oh, you mean the real life black
where it like doesn't reflect any light at
Yeah.
all. Like it'd be sweet to paint him like that.
Yeah. So you don't see any conscious nothing. You see the general shape of what is not, what is in front of you.
What was it called, Jax?
Vanta black.
I would not. I mean, first of all, it's fucking expensive. Secondly, if I want to work on a model, I want there to be contrasts. I want there to be something, highlights and whatnot.
Well, that's why he has a base, man. You can do all you want. Go wild with the base, but leave the master.
You're talking to a Knights player. I'm a base bitch. I'm a base bitch. All right. I tell stories. I make mini dioramas with my fucking Knight bases.
Yeah.
They're fucking deathcore dudes.
Just pour
they're
car oil on them.
just running around in motorcycles, trying to snipe some orcs, landing their shovel in an orc skull and whatnot. The knights trample on orcs and rocks alike. Bloody hell. Okay, yeah, we need to take time to talk about our knight armies, Mark. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, well, bonus episodes exist, my dude. We can do that. Listener lore exists. We can do that. We'll set something up.
Yeah, all right. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we kind of
Yeah.
covered the differences. You know, that we could kind of go a little bit more, but really they're pretty much the same. You know, there's no chaos or imperial knights, chaos knights in fantasy, so obviously that's a huge difference.
But we do have chaos dwarfs, which are awesome.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, highly mechanical and super heretical, and yeah, let's go. And they have the same T-first as I do. Yeah.
While Be'lakor shares a core identity in the role of the first demon prince in both Warhammer Fantasy and 40k universes, his ambitions, method, and the context of his power differ greatly. In fantasy, his story is rooted in ancient betrayal and his struggle to dominate chaos gods himself. While in 40k, he is a subtle, calculating force whose influence is felt across the galaxy through dark manipulation and strategic alliances. The difference in tone, scale, and cosmic stakes between the two settings also shape how Be'lakor interacts with the forces of chaos and his role within the larger narrative of the universe. Yeah. I have some questions here. Maybe just pick one each. I already have mine picked out, and we'll talk about it because I'm sure we answered a lot of these. But the question I will propose to you guys is, considering the vast legions and corrupted forces under Be'lakor's command, how do his followers perceive him? Do they worship him as a god, or is he seen as a necessary evil, someone to follow out of fear or ambition rather than true reverence? Like, I just picture the disciples of Be'lakor. Like, are they worshiping him, or is there even some resentment within the Imperial Knights where it's like, you kind of wrecked our planet. Like, yeah, we're more powerful now, but at one point we will betray you if we get more powerful. Or is it worship now?
Let me Jordan Peterson this bitch, all right?
Please.
When are you ever sure that you worship something in its true form? All you perceive is the way it is relayed to you, and your value system will make sure that you will strive forward in the world and not. And if you're not, then the world goes to hell in a handbasket real quick.
Yeah. No, okay, you answered my question. Yeah. Thank you, Jordan Peterson knockoff.
You never see Be'lakor in its real form. It's way too convenient. Don't make no mistake. No, it disguise. He knows when to disguise himself.
Sure.
When an ideology is way too easy and way too convenient to be real, well, guess who's on the fucking phone, maggot? It's Be'lakor. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Jax, what are your thoughts on that?
You've just been Be'lakor, bitch. Oh, yeah. Yeah, like, what do you say? Like, it's Be'lakor. Like, when Be'lakor, like, comes to you, he doesn't kill you, and you, like, survive the initial encounter. He's like, oh, you work for me now. It's like, what are you, just a mere mortal, gonna do? Just, like,
Yeah.
no. Bam.
Yeah, I think they I think they definitely like see him as like an all-powerful being, if not maybe there's a couple beings more powerful, but like, yeah, there's probably definitely an aspect of worship to him. And I don't think they see it as like an unnecessary evil that they follow him just to get more power. Like a lot of chaos gods or chaos followers follow the gods as a means to just further their own ends, you know? Oh, my family betrayed me, so I'm going to serve Khorne to become more powerful so I can get back at them. But yeah.
I think it is way within the whole spectrum, to be honest, because and yes, that is something we do in our German Warhammer 40k podcast. We permanently use real life examples to emphasize the fact how fucked up 40k is. And the Germans under the Third Reich, under Hitler, brainwashed by the ideology of racial purity and German hegemony, whatever the word is, over Europe. They thought that the Holocaust was an unsavory necessary evil that they would not really like to indulge in, but we gotta. That's just a dirty piece of work we have to do. And we are going to create it in a way that is most humane. industrialize the whole process, which makes it more fucked up in a certain sense.
Sure.
Other ideologies revel in the suffering and the punishment towards their lesser, as they perceive it. October 7th comes to mind. So if this is the same or different, let's speculate. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. And by the way, Nazis were fucking evil. Yeah, I'm not apologizing.
No. But I get
anything.
what you're saying about like you know, the German people during the Holocaust, they wanted to spare a lot of the people doing that truly horrendous stuff, and they did it through a lot of different ways. You know, they'd put people behind a tarp.
And at the same time, they were fucking sadists that made
Yes.
the concentration camps as
But they weren't
suffering as
necessarily, like you said, some other cultures that are like, yeah, I'm going to kill you, drink your blood, and relish in it. You know, I'm sure there was some that did it, but you know, on a whole,
by doctrine.
yeah, interesting take, yeah, or observation, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
On the kind of the topic of the question,
No, all good.
Before we move on, sorry, Mark. To be honest, if all of Bellacor's forces came together, like the 100 knights, all of his disciples, all the demons, if they all worked together to defeat Be'lakor, they could probably do it. The one problem is that, as you say, like, they need to be working together, and as chaos, everybody's at each other's throat. And the disciples of Be'lakor, called disciples of Be'lakor for a reason. They probably view him as a god. But if ever Be'lakor could be technically how you define a god, he could be that. But if chaos, even his own forces came together for a brief moment to beat him up, they could probably do it. Could probably. But the problem is they still have to use him.
Yeah.
Everybody's using everybody. They need a figurehead. They need Bellacor's strength. They need his pull a planet through the warp.
But isn't that the whole shtick with chaos undivided, or undivided, as we like to say? Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's the thing. You can have a bunch of steppe people, steppe nomads, brilliant raiders, brilliant fighters, and horsemen and whatnot, but to get them to focus on one goal at the same time under one jurisdiction and organization, well, that takes a bloody Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
That takes a Jagatai Khan in our context. So
or an Abaddon the spoiler, so to speak.
There we bloody go.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they're one of a kind individuals, rare, few
definitely.
and far between. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe my other thought just on them rising up and trying to defeat Be'lakor, I feel like if they tried to do that on Bellacor's planet that Colossi, they wouldn't stand a chance. He is the master of that domain. So yeah, then all of a sudden you'd have to try to confront him in real space or something, but maybe then they would stand a chance. But on the planet, that is his dominion. He gets the final say on everything there. Did you guys end up picking out a question?
All right. Well, as much as a Night Lord and Tau simp I am, I love knights. So the question I picked was, the Chaos Knights of House Korvac are a significant part of Bellacor's forces in 40k. How do these massive demon-infused war machines reflect his own nature or desires? Are they a manifestation of his strategic genius, or a perversion of his original mortal ideals of leadership?
Yeah, I really like to think that they kind of take on that shadow aspect of him, both in they are the ultimate betrayers. A night house is built of family members, and they turned on their own family members, the ones who had given them power, support, resources, wealth, position, all that kind of stuff. And it mimics Be'lakor and what he did with the Dark Gods, where he turned on them for his own kind of power and prosperity. But then I also like to think, yeah, like we were saying earlier, that they take on that actual shadow itself, where they are shadowy and they kind of flicker in and out of reality a little bit, and they're hard to target on because they're darkness as well. So it's kind of that twofold approach in my mind.
I would totally agree with that. The thing about Be'lakor is, I do believe he's kind of a I don't know, a funnel trap. You know, you're a fish, and there is a funnel trap in your river or the coastline, and you go in there because it's all nice. There's some bait, yeah. Oh, you got yourself. You don't find yourself. Yeah, and then there's no way out. You know it's a fucking funnel trap, but you deal with the situation at hand.
Interesting.
And I think that's how most of his followers' modus operandi would be.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good and nice in there, but once you're in that trap, you're in it, and now there's no getting out of it.
Yeah, I do believe he is the ultimate deceiver, because we would organically give Tzeentch this attribute, or this I don't know, ability. But Be'lakor has way more many tools at hand. That guy is chaos undivided, you know? He's got a big... Whatever fucking tool belt your dad had, Be'lakor's is like thrice the size.
Yeah, because not only does he have like the 4 chaos gods and all their kind of tools at his disposal, he also at one point was immortal. He also can actually go into the mortal realm, where the chaos gods don't have that same ability and stuff.
There we go.
Yeah. Cool.
So I do believe his followers know exactly what they got themselves into, but the jig is up. The door is closed. And you better work with it.
Yeah, now the followers in that trap, they can fight amongst themselves, but ultimately they're still fucking in that trap.
There we go.
Yeah, cool.
Yep, the jig is up. They finally found
Mr. Yeager, did you pick out a question you want to throw?
Given that Be'lakor has experienced both mortal ambition and demonic transcendence, how do you think his views on mortal or mortality have evolved? Does he view mortal life as something to be conquered, or something to be despised for its fragility? Oh, I think I picked a good one.
Jax, you got something?
I'm just looking over the question again, just trying to like. Well, this does lead to the question: is because chaos gods have good aspects that we rarely see, like Khorne, honor, Slanesh, Tzeentch, hope, Nurgle, love, and all that jolly green stuff. So is the main like question is like, is Be'lakor truly evil, or does he have enough? Well, there we go.
There was a second part to that statement, but I think we came to the conclusion before we got there.
No, but I think Jax built
Yeah.
or painted a great picture there, because there is a great theory that if 40k wasn't that fucked up because of the meddling of mortals and their ambitions, the Chaos Gods would have a very different, as we in Germany say, Gestalt, a different form, you know?
Sure.
And a different appearance. And there is something to it. I see that. But in the case of Be'lakor, he's born of the current status quo. So, fuck that. No chance.
Yeah.
No, really.
I like to think under different circumstances, Be'lakor, instead of like raiding Houseworld or Nightworld Colossi, he just goes to a planet and is like, now I must serve the gods. I must build orphanages and raise charities in their name.
Jax, if you were a girl, you would be one of those with the slogan, I can fix him.
Oh, you're a lesbian girl. Okay, perfect. I love that for you. All right, I think that's a perfect spot to leave it off at with Jax being a lesbian female.
Yeah.
We can jump to our end notes real quick. Thanks everyone for
No.
listening and joining. This was a killer episode. Man, we talked about chaos so long, and that's one of the best things about 40K and specifically the warp. There's just so many different tangents that you can go on, and you're never going to really lock down a direct answer, come to that like peaceful conclusion of it all. So yeah, thanks boys for joining me. It was a heck of a lot of fun.
Was my pleasure indeed.
If you want to hear more of me reading lore, I read homebrew lore at Lorehammer Listener Lore Podcast. That's a lot of fun. I've had guests on there too. If you want to share your lore to me and like we bounce ideas back off each other, it's been a lot of fun. So go check out Lorehammer Listener Lore Podcast. Mr. Yeager, tell us one more time about the Adeptus Inebrius.
Thank you for giving me a platform to plug. So if you have anything to do with the German language or German 40K scene, then head on over to Patreon/Adeptus Inebrius, or just check out Adeptus Inebrius on every single podcasting platform there is. We'd like to have you. Thank you very much, and see you there.
And even if you don't speak German, just go listen to one episode. Because like I said, it's fucking just funny listening to them yell at each other in German. It's a good time.
Yeah, please drive our numbers up. Please generate traffic. Just listen to us going, Flaggenhugen, yeah? Go ahead.
Oh, man. Jax, you have anything you want to shout out?
It was fun being here. It was pretty awesome. Death to Snoochie said, God, I missed the whole thing.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, love this podcast. It introduced me to 40K. Great to finally be a true part of the show now.
Cool. And I'll just shout out some Patreon members. This week, since we did an episode last night, there's no new Patreon members. So I decided to shout out the longest active members to my Patreon, which is just crazy. Some of these people have been supporting me for fucking 5, 6, 7 years since the beginning. We really do appreciate it. I can't believe I even made $1 off Lorehammer, and I'm so honored that I'm able to like produce this kind of content and you guys are enjoying it. So shout out to Snatch, Jacob, Bobby G, and the 3 great unclean ones, Logan, and Camden. Thank you guys so much. Seriously, your support means so much to me. Yeah. And with that, we'll end out the show. We'll say adios and farewell and try not to get manipulated by Be'lakor into doing something bad.